Poor Lonzo, you guys. Poor Lonzo. My man last night having himself an evening of restful slumber, interrupted about 11:30 last night when apparently in Gray Court, South Carolina, he could hear the cheers of a large portion of the country celebrating with great enthusiasm the departure from the NBA playoffs of one LeBron James.
Might have been the entire world. I mean, because there are haters everywhere. So there's a good shot that maybe it was the entire world. I was, about 11:30. I'm into the REM sleep, and next thing you know, you wake up, you think storm, you think, was it a siren? What was that? And then it's like, oh. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. All right. I get it.
Oh. That was rough for the Lake Show. I'm not gonna lie, I did not stay up late to watch it. I have not been watching the late games this week, and that is a disappointment for me. That's on me. That's my bad. But these 10 p.m. tips are killing me. I'll check in a little bit later in the playoffs. The 10 o'clock games will become a source of regularity for me. But, man, I don't know what to tell you. Like, the last couple of nights, it's just been like, I watched the first half, and then I'm like, Sports Center sounds good. I'll check Sports Center in the AM.
See, what I recorded it, and I watched the fourth quarter this morning. And as I was fast forward through, I just happened to notice where Luka got hurt. I saw that before I got to the fourth quarter. And it's like, okay, that's not good.
Apparently, Rudy Gobert decided to pretend that he was Kareem last night. 27 points and 24 boards. Apparently, Rudy Gobert was like, my turn. Sit it down, Ant-Man. I got this one. Anthony Edwards had like 15. Luka got ractoed.
Well, the thing is, the Lakers are not built to handle being beat up, and they got beat up last night.
You're not wrong, and they don't. This series, to me, basically came down to the fact that the Lakers don't have a dude in the middle. I
was thinking about this. So the guy that they were going to get from Charlotte, would he have made a difference?
Compared to what I saw the last couple of games,
See,
yes.
I don't know that he helps them get past the first round.
I'll tell you what he helps them do. What he helps them do is not let Rudy Gobert look like an offensive monster. I'm not saying he would have gone out there and given you, a 24 piece in order to match Rudy Gobert. What I think he does is prevent Rudy Gobert from getting 24 overall. We're watching the highlights right now, and they just showed like 3 back-to-backs where Rudy Gobert just went up clean. They had nobody in the middle, so Rudy Gobert's going up clean, grabbing boards and just getting easy bunnies right at the rim. You give me like a 7-footer in there just to disrupt. I'm not even saying go in there and physically dominate Rudy Gobert, because Rudy Gobert is thick with multiple C's on the end. I'm saying give me a disruptor. Give me someone that can put an ass on Rudy Gobert and not just did you see how easy he picked that off the board? Like, there was just nothing. Gobert was just like grabbing it off the rim every time down. A 7, at least disrupt that and give yourselves a chance. That was it. So when that whole thing went down and they ended up not having a 7-footer, my thought was it is still a possibility. Again, like, I lost the bet last night because I had a ticket on the LA Lakers making it to the Western Conference Finals. But I knew it was going to be a risk, because I said, I think the Luka LeBron pairing is a very good one. I think Luka and LeBron playing like a 1-3 or 1-4 hybrid is, I think that's absolutely got potential to open up the floor for both of these cats. I do not need Luka Doncic to any longer play a power 3. I do not need LeBron to play point guard. I can move him back out to the /4. I can let Luka be the 1 and watch those assist totals skyrocket, as I want them to anytime he is on the floor alongside the scoring. The problem was always going to be for LA. If anybody figures out how to match Luka and LeBron on the outside, which Anthony Edwards is obviously capable of doing. Didn't have to last night, but he's capable of it. And if they figure out that they can play in the post because the Lakers have nothing to stop them with, then that's where they're going to get in trouble. The take the entire time, how many times this series did I say, if the Lakers are going to win these games, if the Lakers are going to be competitive, if the Lakers are going to make that run that I think they can make, they are going to need a triple-double performance out of Luka Doncic every game. Last night, 28, 7 boards, 9 assists. He was kind of in that mix. You got 22 out of LeBron, 7 boards, 6 assists. You got 23 out of Hachimura, but 4 boards and no assists. 12 out of Austin Reeves, but he was 2 of 10 from behind the arc, 5 of 14 from the floor, well below 50% from the field. Like, once the Timberwolves figured out, we let Rudy Gobert get it done. And again, I do not think, I think the Timberwolves are good. I don't think they're NBA Finals good. And I don't think they're NBA Finals good because they are going to bump into some teams that just match up better than the Lakers do. The problem was always going to be, if somebody gets something going in the middle, the Lakers just don't have the size in the middle. And that was Rudy Gobert. 27, 24 boards, and ended up with a couple of blocks in the middle too. It wasn't even like in the game last night. Great one. Like, yes, the Timberwolves were very clearly the more physical team in this series by and large. Outside of those couple of moments, like Luka taking a clothesline from hell, brother. Outside of those couple of moments, I don't think the Timberwolves were like, WWEing the Los Angeles Lakers. I think they were just playing basketball through the 5 spot. That was it. Like, they weren't being over the top physical. It's not like they were beating the hell out of the Lakers. They just played through Rudy Gobert. And it's one of those spots where if you've got a 7-footer, 7 minutes into that game, you go, hey, big fella, tonight's on you. Tonight's on you. Tonight's the night that we need you to be the guy. Tonight's the night that we need you to be special. And they just don't have that. They got 6'8" Rui Hachimura. That's the best they could throw at the guy. Jackson Hayes didn't touch the floor last night, which, okay, fine. Like, Jackson Hayes is 7 foot on the dot, and he's the only option they have. And that dude's been giving you 4 minutes and 2 points a game throughout this series. He is in no condition, no shape. This man is 7 foot 220. Stick against Rudy Gobert. Like, at that point, as counterintuitive as this might seem for everything that we're talking about right now, as counterintuitive as that might seem, it's better not to have him out there. Because 7 foot 220 is losing to Rudy Gobert every time. Yo, I am 220. I'm actually 216. Thanks for asking. But you get the point. This man is a lot taller than me. Like, he's a full 9 inches taller than me, and he's got me by 3 pounds. Rudy Gobert is thick. You can't win in that spot. So again, I'm not saying that had the trade gone through, that would have seen them picking up Mark Williams out of Charlotte, they'd have been in a better spot. Mark Williams goes 7 foot 240, and he plays bigger than 240. He's young, he's inexperienced. He's giving you, I think he was averaging at the time, I don't know if these numbers held through the rest of the season, but he was giving you like 15, 10, and 2, 15, 10, and 3. With Charlotte. Would that have been different with LA? Probably, because he would have been featured more, I think, with JJ Redick. But at the end of the day, when Jackson Hayes is the best you got, JJ Redick made the decision, and again, you can argue that it was the wrong decision, evidenced by the fact that the Lakers are on their way to Cancun this evening. When it comes down to it, Rudy Gobert took over in that spot, which offensively is not what we are used to. Rudy Gobert is one of the best defensive players in the NBA. Rudy Gobert is not one of the best offensive players in the NBA. So if you find yourself in a spot where Frenchie's going out there and he's giving you 27, and you don't have anybody to put an ass on him and stop him from doing that, yeah, you're in a world of hurt. And that was it for the Lakers last night. I don't think Minnesota did anything special. I don't think Minnesota was beating up on LA. I mean, they were taking the physicality to Luka, but let's keep it a buck. That's the only way to beat Luka Doncic, is to literally beat him. That's the only way to take Luka out of his rhythm, is to hammer the guy. They weren't being overly physical with LeBron. They weren't being overly physical with Rui Hachimura. They were letting Rudy Gobert look like a tank in the middle, play the vanguard in the middle, and the Lakers had zero capability. Forget mentality or desire or whatever. They just didn't have the weaponry. Sometimes you lose a fight because you just don't have the firepower to win it. And I thought that at the end of the night last night, that was the case for the Lakers. They did not lose this game for any reason other than they just did not have the firepower to win the game. If you'd have told me coming out that Rudy Gobert was going to end the game with a 27-24 performance, my response would have been, no, Lakers are cooked. Because there's no way to match that. They're not, even with Luka and LeBron, they do not have enough on the outside to be able to match up with that if Anthony Edwards is also playing. It just can't be done. And that's basically all it came down to. They just didn't have the firepower. So we'll talk more about that game coming up later on in the radio broadcast. There was one other game in the association last night. The series between H-Town and Golden State. The Warriors now with a 3-2 lead as Houston wins 131-116 last night. Houston shot 55% from the floor. Like, we were talking about, the fact that the T-Wolves weren't doing anything special, right? They weren't beating up on the Lakers. It was a physical series, but not necessarily any more physical than any other series traditionally featuring these two teams. Like, it wasn't a brawl. The Houston Rockets are a team built to brawl. They are a team built to try to get in your head. That's why they got Dylan Brooks. Like, Dylan Brooks refers to himself as Dylan the Villain. That is probably the only nickname in the NBA, self-glossed, that I'm going to let stick. Dylan the Villain. Because he knows it and he is.
Yeah, and if you don't let it stick, he'll come and find you.
Yeah, I'll probably hit you if you call him anything else. That is the one NBA self-gloss nickname that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to let that one go because I can't come up with anything better than Dylan the Villain for Dylan Brooks.
Is self-gloss a thing, or did you just make that up?
It is a thing. Okay. I actually think it, if I recall correctly, it's like gloss. When you gloss something, you call it a name.
I understand what you're saying.
The self-gloss is the self-gloss. The place I remember hearing it, not to give the dude any extra credit, but it's from Jim Rome. He referred to it as self-glossing all the time.
All right. So it may or may not be a thing because he's pretty old.
No, I mean, it's a thing. It is a thing. I just think that Rome has this habit of taking things that are somewhat pop culture-y, like fringe pop culture, and then making them his and wearing it, right? Dylan the Villain is 24 points last night, by the way. Went 8 of 8 from the stripe, 7 of 13 from the floor, had a couple of assists, 1 board. Dylan the Villain, the only self-gloss I accept in the National Basketball Association was brought in because the goal for H-Town has always been, and by always I mean for the duration of this season, it has always been to win by getting you out of sorts. It has been to win by fighting you, by getting in your head, by getting you out of your game. And in this series, I've given credit a couple of times to Draymond Green because I thought Draymond has out-Houstoned Houston by and large in this series. And because of that, you've seen Houston kind of struggling a little bit, I think, with identity because they haven't really known how to respond to that. I think last night you saw them kind of get back to it a little bit. I think last night you saw them kind of get to Golden State. Golden State lifted up 103 field goal attempts last night. They shot 41%, going 43 of 103. And it felt, unlike most of the other games in the series, which Golden State leads 3-2, last night it felt forced. It felt like Golden State was just trying to get shots up last night. It didn't feel like they were doing what Golden State usually does in, great shot selection. It's either Steph Curry lighting you up or Golden State is taking their time. If anybody but Steph is shooting the ball, it better be a good look at the rim. If anybody but Steph is lifting one up, it better be because you have an unpass-up-onable shot. Last night, it didn't feel that way. Last night, it felt like they were forcing the ball. It felt like these last two games, Steph's been very average. He was 4 of 12 from deep, 4 of 12 from the floor, 3 of 9 from deep last night. Steph feels like after games 1 and 2, he kind of came back down to earth a little bit. And nobody else has really been able to pick up that slack. And last night, it felt like Golden State was forcing it. Again, like 41%, almost 42% is not an awful night. But when you put up 103 field goal attempts, it felt like desperation to me. So Houston's still alive. And more importantly, not only still alive, but it feels like with that game last night, it feels like with that, Golden State, it felt like even though that is snapping a 2-game win streak for Golden State, last night was the first game in the series to me where it felt like Golden State looked kind of desperate. It kind of looked like Golden State was a little bit out of sorts. Like they didn't know, Steph's not on tonight. What the hell are we going to do? Everybody else just start jacking stuff at the rim, and it did not go well. Did not go well. We'll talk a lot of basketball today, but I got other stuff I want to get into. Speaking of basketball, the NBA announced a couple of days ago that they are looking at revamping their All-Star game, and they're copying somebody else's mentality, and I'm great with it. We'll talk about that and more as the show rolls on. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. You're you. Listening to The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Yes, Luka did get broken in half. Oh, man. I got to blow my daggum nose. I'm sneezing my brains out of here. We'll be right back. 12:52 a.m. Mark Williams, said 7-footer from the Hornets, just tweets a smiley face emoji. It's incredible. Absolute savagery. I'm going through Reddit during the break, just seeing, what news of the world I missed last night, what sports news I missed last night, because it basically grabs all the dumb stuff from the sports world, stuff that isn't going to make it to the front page of your traditional sports news media outlets. Mark Williams, who we talked about in the last segment. You may remember, it was a very long time ago. Mark Williams is the 7-footer for the Charlotte Hornets that was supposed to be an LA Laker, but the Lakers ended up nixing that trade after they made it. And there were a lot of question marks about it. Like, why did this happen? The team response was that he failed a physical that he needed to pass in order to qualify to become a Laker. There was a lot of discussion about whether or not that was true, or the Lakers just had buyer's remorse, or if they knew that there was another trade that was going to be coming down the pipe soon, and they wanted to keep all of their trade pieces intact in case they needed to utilize them. Remember, Dalton Connect was going to get sent to Charlotte to become a member of Buzz City in order to facilitate that trade. Well, last night at 12:52 a.m., Mark Williams decided to tweet out the absolute funniest thing possible. Mark Williams put up a tweet that was quite literally just a smiley face emoji. Spectacular. Spectacular. Now, the first response is from a Twitter account called Air Gold, which has 10,000 followers. And they responded, Lakers wanted you on the team. They traded for you. The fans were happy, but you failed your physical. Even though it is the Lakers that gave him the physical. I got it up on the stream here. Mark Williams just tweeting out the smiley face emoji has got to be the funniest thing I've seen so far today. Granted, it is 6:25 in the morning. There's a lot of today left ahead of us, but that's the funniest thing I've seen so far today. That's rough, dude. That's rough. Anyway, I'm not gonna. This is not a Lakers show. We're not going to spend a ton of time on it, but I do think after Luka moved over and every other show in America spent that much time talking about LA, I think it is entertaining at the very least. The Lakers eliminated last night. Golden State does have Houston on the brink of elimination, but H-Town was able to stave off the trip to Cancun by at least one more game last night. What's the biggest takeaway from these NBA playoffs so far? Because I'll tell you, I think I'm looking at it and thinking to myself, like, the NBA is a hell of a lot more physical than you guys want than you old hats want to pretend that it is.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing is that the seeding seems to be all wrong. I mean, it's according to record. I get it, but lower seeds seem to be a little more dominant than the seeds above them.
You've got the Lakers, the 3 seed eliminated, with the Timberwolves moving on. You got the 7 seed Rockets moving on. I would say a couple of things. Number one,
and Golden State is still up on Houston, which is a higher seed.
Yeah, that's what I just said. The 7 seed, Golden State up. I think that with Golden State, though, I think context matters. This team became the team that they are now when they added Jimmy Buckets, and they added Jimmy Buckets at the end of the season, right? Well, trade deadline, but towards the end of the season. I think that's one that probably looks worse than it is, but called this shot when Jimmy Buckets showed up. I'm like, this team is now a Western Conference Finals threat because of Jimmy Buckets, because of Playoff Jimmy. Playoff Jimmy is a real thing. Playoff Jimmy is a horror monster for everybody who's not whoever has Playoff Jimmy on the squad. And so for me, Golden State is a different team in their last 25 games than they were in their first 40. It's a different team. It's a different vibe. So I don't necessarily disagree. Grizzly Thunder obviously is what it is. Denver up 3-2 on the Clippers. That's a 4-5 matchup. Not that big of a deal. The Timberwolves getting by LA. LA was a team that I think I would say that I would be comfortable in saying was a boom or bust team. This team was either going to be remarkable in the postseason or they were going to absolutely flame out in the postseason. Turns out the flame out was the right call. But that is because, like I said, my biggest takeaway in these playoffs so far is this is a very physical postseason. I think this is a more physical game than the old hats want to give it credit for. And the fact that the Lakers do not have anybody that was able to bang in the middle with Rudy Gobert ultimately did them in. And even though this was a career game for Rudy Gobert, Gobert's been having a good go in this entire series, or I guess I should say did have a good go in this entire series. Over on the other side, you got the Cavs that swept Miami. That's 1-8, right? The Pacers down the Bucks 4-1. No Giannis Antetokounmpo, no Dame Lillard to pair up with Giannis Antetokounmpo. No real shock there. The 3-6 matchup sees the Knicks up on the Pistons. I think the Pistons this year are probably a year ahead of schedule. Much like Orlando, I think the Pistons are a team that is very much pointed in the right direction, but they just arrived a year early. They got to find a running buddy for Cade Cunningham next year, and if they do, they're going to end up being exceptional next year. I could see Detroit absolutely being a team that contends for the East next year. Same with the Magic. They got to find one more running buddy for Paulo Banchero, but they got matched up with the C's. And I've been saying for a hot minute, like the Celtics to me feel like a team that never really hit the accelerator. The Celtics to me felt like a team that was kind of playing with a 75% throttle. And what do the Celtics have that only the Eastern Conference regular season champion Cleveland Cavaliers have? A roster that is verifiably 100% healthy. Verifiably 100% healthy. That team came into this postseason, yes, as the 2 seed. And if they end up in the Eastern Conference Championship, likely it's going to run through Cleveland, not Boston. But I do think Cleveland is probably not 100% like Boston is. And this is why, like, halfway through the season, I was like, guys, I don't think Boston's giving you all they got. As good as they are, I don't think they care about being the 1 seed. I think as long as they're the top 2 or 3 seeds in the NBA playoffs, they're going to be fine. I don't think you're getting the best you're going to get. Boston is probably, are they the least physical team in the NBA? Well, we'll say second round. The Cavs are more physical. The Pacers certainly are. Knicks, Pistons, like, I think either one of those teams, I would say, more physical than Boston is. Least physical team in the playoffs, But that's because they've got so much can score from anywhere talent. And more importantly, they got so much can score from anywhere talent, don't feel compelled to. Don't feel like I have to, right? Jason Tatum, to me, if Tatum had any personality to him at all, not that he has no personality, but just like he doesn't have that put me on the cover of the video game mentality. Jason Tatum would be in the discussion for best player in the NBA. Like he's Jaylen Brown. If you take away Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown starts drooling because he'll go get his 27 piece. Kristaps Porzingis. Zoe, I made a realization after the Dusty Rhodes game for Kristaps Porzingis, after the busted open game. I think Kristaps Porzingis might be my favorite big man to watch play in the NBA.
And just think how quickly he was written off when he first came into the league. He's been on a couple teams, and you forget that he's even still there. And now,
yeah, every problem the Knicks had, they blamed on Porzingis for like 2 years running. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
I was going to say, and now he's coming into his own. Some of these guys just need to be on the right team and need a little seasoning.
Kristaps Porzingis is maybe my favorite big man to watch play in the NBA right now because it's old school big man. Like there's no flash to it, and that's kind of Boston. Like they've got enough to be a flashy basketball team, and it's just like they don't have any interest in being a flashy basketball team. They don't have any interest in getting on the marquee. They don't have any interest in making SportsCenter's top 10. They just want to go bang and play basketball. And I feel like they're killing it right now. That's why I picked Boston to win the East going into these playoffs. Because as much as I really do like the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I am straight up enjoying watching Cleveland play, when it comes down to it, man, like Boston they do enough. They don't feel the need to be compelling. I don't think they're trying to, get highlighted on the front segment of the NBA social media page. They're just here to win, and they're doing a good job. It's a physical postseason, and the Lakers are out because they just did not have anybody who could be physical. The Timberwolves did. The Thunder are on because they're just exceptionally talented. Nuggets should win this series because they are the more physical team, and also Jamal Murray. But I think that's my biggest takeaway so far from this postseason is it is primarily the teams that are dominating the glass that are moving on. The teams that are being more physical that are moving on. All right, back after this, the Rob Brown Show. We'll get away from basketball. We got some football, hockey, and soccer we need to get into. It's the Fan Upstate. Okay. I'm going to say something here that's kind of behind the scenesy for those of you watching on the stream. And I don't know that I've ever had this in radio. Great one. Do you detect a certain whistle in my speak today? Have you heard it? When I hit the high marks, there's like a whistle to it. Last night, I made some cheesy chicken enchiladas for dinner. And I was very hungry because the wife wanted to do a bunch more yard work. And I did because I love my wife and I'm willing to do that for her. So I was real hungry when I got inside and I made a cheesy chicken enchilada. And I made the mistake of taking a bite while it was still middle of a volcano hot. And like it burnt the roof of my mouth. And there's like one little skin flap hanging down from, I guess, a pop blister.
Yeah.
And when I speak, every now and then I blow a current of air over it and it like whistles. And I can hear it. I don't know if anybody else hears it, but it is killing me right now.
I quit. Can't believe I did.
I don't think I've ever seen you do that one.
Yeah, I was just, yeah. Are we on the air? Are we not on the air? Apparently, I forgot.
I mean, we were for a second there.
I forgot. Yeah, but it's not closed. It's not. Okay.
Is that what they were doing the other day?
Yeah, a sinkhole.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it's supposedly pretty bad. I mean, I don't think we're going to get sucked into the abyss, but they worked on opening up another lane, but I guess it was because of water or something.
Had I known it was a sinkhole, I would have walked over there to look at it.
I don't know how far down it is as far as the sinkhole. I'm guessing it's on the other side of the bridge.
I genuinely didn't
know.
It
could be all the way down near GE. Who knows?
So, did I delete it? The wife the other day found out that there's a service, because I guess it's cheaper for landscaping companies to, when they take down trees and put them through a wood chipper, instead of bringing wherever they got to bring huge piles of wood chips, there's this company or this organization you call, and they will bring a truck of mulch to your house and just drop it off. You just have it, right? And so the wife called and got a truckload of mulch. Dude, it showed up at the house the other day. And when I say a truck, it was like a semi truck full of stuff. The mound of mulch they put in my backyard was tall as me and bigger around than my Bronco. It was enormous. So I've spent the last 3 nights just laying mulch down. Here's the pile. She's standing about a foot in front of it. It's as tall as me in the back. And so we spent the last 3 days just laying mulch down, and there is still a mountain of this stuff in my backyard. And every day she finds somewhere new she wants to put more mulch. And I'm like, oh.
Well, you got to put it somewhere.
I know.
Yeah.
You know where I'd like to put it? In the back of somebody else's truck to take away from my home.
You have multiple wheelbarrows, or are you just...
No, we have like a trailer. It's 4 feet long by 2.5, 3 feet across and about that deep. And so I'm filling it up, and it's not heavy. It's just dragging this thing back and forth across the yard 100 times a night. I am hurting today. I can't get over Mark Williams just tweeting out a smiley face. That's brutal, man. That's hilarious. I love it. Welcome back to Rob Brown Show on the radio. It's the Fan of State, Rob Lonzo and you. Talking some NBA this morning on the show. I asked what the biggest takeaway thus far from these NBA playoffs are. For me, the answer is that the NBA is a heck of a lot more physical than some of the old hats want to give it credit for, right? Like there's been the conversation going on for a very long time by those of you that were watching basketball in the 70s, late 80s, maybe into the 90s. Oh, you can't hand check anymore. You're not watching. You're not watching because these series are proving the exact opposite of that. All the Timberwolves did. And again, last night I don't think was a great example. But Luka Doncic was trying to, for a hot minute there, take over that game. And while they weren't giving it to him outside the three-point line, great when you pointed it out earlier. Every time Luka put a foot inside of the three-point line, they were getting handsy with him. Like third date movie theater in high school, handsy with Luka Doncic. Just absolutely trying to push him around a little bit. And if he went all the way to the rack, he was getting punished. One of the takeaways I have, and you guys know I am a LeBron James guy. I like LeBron. I don't have any issues with LeBron James. One of the issues that I had, and again, I said I wasn't going to make it an all Lakers show, but this is more about the overall status of the league in this postseason than it is the Lakers. One of the issues that I have with LeBron in this series that I do not have was, say, Anthony Edwards. Did it feel to me like LeBron played a very, very dramatically less physical style of basketball after Luka showed up? And I get it. The dude's 41 years old, right? Like, I can't expect LeBron James to take the ball inside when Rudy Gobert is down there waiting to punish him if he tries to play basketball in the paint. But you got to where you got because that was the style of game that you played all year. And when Luka's a great player. Luka's a very physical player. Luka's a guy that will absolutely play a physical style of game, even if he's undersized to do it. Even Luka's like 6'7". I don't know why we pretend like he's a small guard. He's a big dude. But that was one of my big problems. I look at some of the other stars in the league right now. I think it's a physical style. Giannis Antetokounmpo plays a physical style of basketball. He just didn't have anybody else running with him, which is part of the reason that I think not only is Giannis out, I think the Milwaukee Bucks are about to join my Pelicans in the circle of futility. Like, there's no point in me being a fan to this team. The Bucks have no young players. They have no cap space. They have no draft picks. And I would not be shocked if Giannis Antetokounmpo wants out. As much as he has been a team guy his entire run in Milwaukee, this team decimated itself. This team, via poor decision-making in the front office, has destroyed itself from the inside out. But Giannis Antetokounmpo plays physical basketball. Anthony Edwards playing physical basketball. Hell, Steph Curry. Steph is getting into it outside of the three-point line. The Rockets have been challenging Steph Curry physically every time he touches the basketball. That's why he's got so many highlight threes in this series, even if he has not shot well or did not shoot well in the loss last night. In the series, he has. And he's got like a highlight reel of just threes in the series. The reason he's got so many is because every time Steph Curry is getting the ball outside of the three-point line, Houston's on him. Houston's on his face. They were pointing out in the last two games. And I have even though I'm a Steph Curry guy, I've thoroughly enjoyed watching it. Go watch any inbounds play for Golden State versus Houston. Go watch any Dubs inbound play. One of the things that I am enjoying watching is Houston has decided anybody but Steph. If we get beat, we're going to get beat by anybody but Steph. And they're just face-up guarding him. Like old school, little league, face-up guarding Steph Curry. Inbounds plays, Steph Curry has a rocket in his face. Just nose to nose, brow to brow in his face. And he's having to, by the time Steph gets the ball, he's had to run like an entire NFL route tree just to get open. So by the time he gets the ball, he's been at full throttle for 4 seconds at that point. Dude has got people face up on him. That's not whining. I'm impressed by Houston.
Oh no, I'm not talking about you. I'm sure that's what he's doing.
He's really not. He's really not.
Yeah, not on camera.
I'd let you have it if he was, but he's really not.
I mean, you can tell. I mean, the Binky's a dead giveaway.
Hater. Absolute hater. Diabolical levels of hater.
Spoiled child who's been allowed to free reign and now suddenly discipline is coming their way. I mean, that usually doesn't go real well for the spoiled child.
I need my Harbaugh hater clips back. I got to reset my whole soundboard just so I can get my Harbaugh hater clips back. I think that's impressive. I I look at the Pacers putting the Bucks down. Team full of dudes. Tyrese and a team full of dudes. Oh, look, hey, they're back.
Certified hater mode.
That's weird. They went away yesterday.
The haters.
And now
They like to drink their haterade and eat their hater tots.
they're back.
Wow, you just look over and suddenly they're there.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it that.
Who could be the biggest hater and say the dumbest stuff?
I love it.
Brother with that mouth?
So I look at Indiana. I look at the Pacers. Physical offense. Go to the rack. Get inside. If you're going to play physical defense, we're just going to drill it into your face. We're going to play through your chest as much as you're going to try to play us chest up defense. This NBA postseason is as physical of a postseason as I can remember. And it feels like to me right now, the teams that are trying to play through chest or with inflated chest are the teams that are having the most success. And this may change. This might change a little bit later on in the postseason. This might change once we get into the third round and we get rid of some of these teams that you and I and everybody else know probably shouldn't be here. But for right now, the teams that are having success in round one are the teams that are either playing exceptionally physical or responding to physicality well, which does not feel usual.
With the Lakers going out, what percentage of the fan base wanes and goes away? I mean, maybe the not the hardcore, but the casual fan who gets engaged during the NBA playoffs. Because now, who's that star that they're going to go, okay, this guy's going to be on every video package that's thrown out there to try to get people to watch? Who is that guy?
The NBA wants it to be Anthony Edwards, but Ant-Man keeps having. He had there was a clip the other day that came from game.
I think he's too angry to be the guy right now, but you know.
There was a clip from like game 2 where they were on the road and Ant-Man was getting heckled by some Lakers fans right in front of the scorer's table. He was checking into the game. They went to a timeout before he checked in. And this was like sideline video from some fan who posted it on social media. But Anthony Edwards was checking in. They called a timeout. He was getting heckled by the Lakers fans. And he turns around and he squares up with the Laker fan. Like, you know, faces up. Not like squares up like I'm Malice at the Palace style. He squares up with the Laker fans. And the Laker fan, you could not make out what the Laker fan says. But Anthony looks at the Lakers fan and he's like smiling and laughing. And he looks at the dude and he goes, "You're just mad because my is bigger than yours." And I don't know why, probably because I'm a 13-year-old child. I laughed my ass off, dude.
Right, but not the guy you put out there for family viewing right now. That's what I'm saying.
I don't disagree with that. Like, I think the NBA wants Anthony Edwards because he's got the talent to contend for that face of the league role that we have spent so much time talking about this year. I think they want Ant-Man in that role. And I think Ant-Man's just like, yeah, nah, I'm gonna do me, dog. And I love him for it. I think it's great. Personally, I think it's fantastic. There have been some spots where I'm like, all right, probably a little far. But if you want the dude who tells Lakers fans, you're just jealous because my is bigger than yours, you're going to get the dude who's going to have some outburst. Who's going to have some outbursts. Like it comes with the territory a little bit. I don't mind the talk. I like it. It's basketball. It's kind of part of the game. Even as a non-bleep talker in sports, like that was never my strong point. I don't mind it. It's basketball. It's kind of ingrained in the culture to some degree. So I really like Ant-Man, but I also understand, as Lonzo pointed out, that that's not necessarily the dude that the NBA is going to say, yeah, that's the face of the association. That's the guy we want out front. Should be. Got the talent. I think the Nuggets with Nikola Jokic could be that squad, especially if Jamal Murray's going to keep doing his thing. You don't have to like it, but Steph Curry's the second most visible player in the NBA behind LeBron James. And if he goes on any sort of tear, especially when this was the year all year that Golden State was done, it's over, the dynasty has collapsed, the big three are cooked, Golden State's gone. If by replacing Clay, ultimately with Jimmy Buckets, this team goes on a run, they will 100% put the cameras on them, and then there's Boston.
But here's the thing, Draymond lessens the appeal of Steph.
I would like to think so. Draymond Green's podcast is like the third most listened to podcast.
No, I said lessons. Right? What I mean is what he does on the court as far as the physicality and all the extracurriculars makes it, I think, harder to put face of the league on Steph Curry. And plus, he's too old. You want if you want the face of the playoffs this year, you want it to be a younger guy.
I think they
are a tenacious younger guy who's not in trouble.
Well, first off, Steph Curry's not in trouble.
The younger guy part cancels him out.
Listen, I understand.
I covered many things there, not just Steph.
I know that's what you want. No, he's not. After the gold medal last year, Steph Curry went right back up to the top of.
He's the only one that won a gold medal?
No, but he was the guy who in that gold medal game against France was putting daggers in one after the next, after the next, after the next. He was the face of that gold medal team. So I think that I think Steph Curry is the guy the NBA dials in on, especially again, if this is a year where the projection was that Golden State is done, and yet here they are, not just about to move on, but about to move on as a 7 seed. And oh, by the way, that Jimmy Butler fella they picked up out of Miami, who, again, I don't think Jimmy Butler is going to be any threat to become face of the league material.
Unless he goes emo Butler.
I mean,
how can you not like that?
I mean, love that guy. I'm curious as if he breaks out emo Jimmy for Warriors Media Day next year. I hope he does. But I think Steph Curry's the guy they lean on. It's Steph Curry. And again, I think it would be Tatum and Brown in Boston because you could really build the whole, like, we have good teams thing around Boston. Like I said, Boston doesn't care about the lights. They don't care about the marquee. They don't. They got the Missoula mentality. They're going to come out, they're going to murder you, and then they're going to go home and go to sleep.
So
same with Denver.
It's the Booker T checks and championships.
Yeah, I think so. And again, I think that's true of the Nuggets as well. Just that, like, we're not here to entertain you. We're here to win and go home. They want another one of those Nikola Jokic.
It's good. The job is done. We can go home now.
Type things, but it doesn't sell. Here's what I'll say, and then we got to go to break. If you need the NBA to put up a bunch of commercials of one guy to get you to watch, you're not a basketball guy. You're an entertainment guy, and that's okay. But as basketball goes, this postseason's pretty good. It's pretty good. It has flipped me around because a week ago I'm like, oh God, it's gonna be awful. Now I'm like, it's pretty good first round for what it is. Second round's gonna be lights out. All right, we got to run to a break. When we come back, water cooler cheat sheet. We got Lulu Kesson at 8 o'clock to talk Gamecocks. Our buddy Michael Pius is going to join us at 8:20 to talk First Tee of the Upstate and their big party this weekend. 8:40, Rashad Beard. 9 o'clock, Hayden Ass Mario. 9:20, Fight Club with the great one Lonzo. All that coming up on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate Sports Flash.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff. It is the biggest story in sports right now. The LA Lakers are headed home, eliminated by the Timberwolves last night with a 103-96 loss. Rudy Gobert had a playoff high 27 points and 24 boards, and Julius Randle added 23. LeBron James was uncertain about his future in the league, asked if his 22nd career season was his last. James said he doesn't have an answer and that he'll have conversations with friends and family before making the decision. The Houston Rockets, also known as Rockets, stayed alive with the 131-116 win over Golden State last night, though the Warriors still lead the series 3-2. All 5 Houston starters finish in double digits, led by Fred VanVleet's 26. 3 games in Stanley Cup playoffs last night. The Capitals eliminated the Canadiens with a 4-1 win. Florida eliminated Tampa Bay with a 6-3 win. All 6 Panther goals were scored by different players. And Winnipeg has taken a 3-2 series lead with a 5-3 win. Well, I'm guessing that's supposed to be St. Louis. That part never got printed. And I was rolling. Huh. Yes.
Join the millions of people who are celebrating going hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. Footwear you just step into and they're on. That's right, you don't have to bend down and you don't have to touch them, which is why people can't stop talking after trying the Skechers Slip-ins. I want all my shoes to have this technology. So how do hands-free Skechers Slip-ins work? It's like they have an invisible built-in shoehorn so your foot slides into place. Then a heel pillow keeps your foot comfy and secure. And Slip-ins are for the whole family.
It's not for everybody. It's not. It is for a lot of people, though, including Rob and myself, obviously.
Unique and unlike any other sports talk show, it's BetMGM tonight, Monday through Friday from 7 to 11, only on the Fan. BetMGM tonight is the red zone for casual and hardcore sports fans. Live sports betting updates for all of the night's games as they happen. Get the latest scores, size, totals, props, parlays, futures, and much more with real-time, relevant sports wagertainment tonight at 7. BetMGM tonight, exclusively on the Fan. And on the Odyssey app. Jaden Daniels is such a revelation. We have seen quarterbacks drafted in the NFL instantly change the fortunes of a franchise. But sometimes it takes a beat, not with this kid. As a matter of fact, it's the exact opposite. They don't turn away from him and turn it to the defense and turn it to the running game. They turn to him and say, hey, Hank, I've never seen anything like it. The Real Chelsea Show, weekdays at noon on the Fan, upstate 97.7 FM, Greenville 97.1 FM, Sligo, and everywhere on the Odyssey.
He is. And, some people, there's no convincing. There are some people you just can't win over.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Hour numero dos.
Wonderful.
Starts right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown, the Great One Lonzo, and you. Be a part of the radio show. 844-326-3663. 844-FANFONE. If you'd like to jump on board, now's the opportunity. That is the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. You can text that number, 844-326-3663. You can also call that number and jump on the air during the show. And I will let you know that if you want to, the next 3 segments, this hour is your opportunity to do so, because starting at 8 o'clock, we are booked up solid. 8 a.m. Lulu Keston of the Greenville News is going to come by. We'll talk a little baseball with her, check in on the football team as well. Then at 8:20 a.m., Michael Pius, the executive director of the First Tee of the Upstate, one of my favorite philanthropic entrepreneurs and favorite charities to work with. First Tee of the Upstate, of course, of the Upstate, pardon me. This Saturday, their big Kentucky Derby party. I've said before, I fully endorse Kentucky Derby parties, even if I think the Kentucky Derby is the most overhyped sporting event. For me, it is nothing more than a justification to have a party where I put on some seersucker, I knock down a handful of mint juleps, and I enjoy a day of day drinking in the sunshine.
I just, because I'm never going to do it. I know this is probably a disgusting question, but the after effects of mint juleps?
I mean, no worse than any other.
I mean, are the belches minty? All right, there we go. As literal as I can be.
I mean, again, mint juleps are a beverage that you sip and enjoy. You don't hammer them down. Like the burps that come with alcoholic beverages are it's the same as drinking a Diet Coke too fast. It's just the carbonation building up, and you got to let that gas out in one direction or the other. The backdoor gas that comes up is a result of material being broken down by the bacteria in your gut, and it can't come up the top end because obviously there's a bunch of liquid and valves in the way. So it's got to go out the back door. The stuff that comes out the top is gas that builds up in the bubble in the gut, and then it comes up the top because there's obviously no obstruction in that direction. Drinking an alcoholic beverage and catching the burps is the same as hammering down a Diet Coke and catching the burps. So if I'm going to do that, yeah, I prefer it be minty fresh.
Okay, so that's a long way of saying yes. That's my theory is true.
I mean, yeah. And that seems like frankly, that seems like a win-win for everybody. Right, so both me and the people around me.
Okay. All right.
But also with a mint julep, that's a sipping cocktail. That is not a let me hammer 9 of these down and have myself a day cocktail.
Listen, accidentally taking a deep breath while you're drinking something can cause that to happen too. I mean,
sure. You
don't necessarily have to be tilting your head back and pouring it in. I mean, you could just, or start to laugh or something that may cause that happen. That's all. I was just curious.
Not incorrect. So I would say yes, but again, it's a pretty rare circumstance that a mint julep is going to cause you to rip back a belch.
Now the stream is telling us which alcoholic beverage makes the best belches. Sorry about that, I guess.
I mean, listen, it's important conversations to have, right? Like every these are things everybody needs to know.
It can be sporting because those kind of contests do break out on occasion.
This is true. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 7:05 in the morning. You are less than 55 minutes away from having to get your bootay into the office. You're going to have to sit down, and you're going to have to handle those responsibilities of the job. But at some point, you will be all caught up. At some point, it'll be your time to walk down the hallway, head to the water cooler, meet up with those 1 or 2 coworkers that you actually enjoy their time and presence, and talk sports. And if you're going to do that, you need to know what's going on. And if you need to know what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
"Feel me? For real? Do you feel him, sir?"
I do. First bathroom break.
No.
Here we go.
Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports with your coworkers this AM. This is what you will be talking about. Let's dive in with item number 1. 2 games in the National Basketball Association last night as we put a bow on round number 1. The Houston Rockets stay alive. That's not the word. Stay alive as they are not eliminated by the Golden State Warriors. Golden State is still up 3-2 after a 131-116 H-Town win last night. The Rockets were led by Fred VanVleet's 26-25 from Amen Thompson and 24 from Dylan Brooks. This was a war of attrition. The Rockets played 9 players off of the bench. The Golden State Warriors played 9 players off of the bench. Everybody got some time. Now, a good chunk of the reason last night is because Golden State was just, they were done with about 5 minutes left to play inside of the fourth quarter, because at that point, Houston had run up a pretty solid lead. H-Town was up 40-24 after the first quarter. They outscored Golden State by 11 in the second quarter. It was a runaway train, never looking back kind of game for Golden State last night, except they were on the wrong end of said train. The Rockets still alive. The Timberwolves sent the Lakers to Cancun last night. A 103-96 victory moves Minnesota into round 2, and the LA Lakers back to the crib. 27 for Rudy Gobert. That is not a verbal typo. Rudy Gobert, the French big man, the man who started COVID, the defensive player of the year multiple times. Yeah, that Rudy Gobert. 27 points and 24 boards for the big man on the inside last night. The Lakers just had no answer. They got 23 out of Julius Randle, the 6'9" big man out of Kentucky. He went 32 minutes. They only needed 15 out of Anthony Edwards last night. The Lakers, 28 out of Luka Doncic. He added 9 assists and 7 boards in the game. They got 23 out of Rui Hachimura, 22 out of LeBron James. The Lakers shot 42% from the floor last night. The Timberwolves shot just 40%, but they did lift 89 field goal efforts. The Timberwolves, by the way, if they play this game, even with the career night of Rudy Gobert, if they play this game, they lose 90% of the time. They shot 40%. They went 7 of 47 from behind the arc. Like, they lose this game most of the time. They just happened to have a lucky night where the Lakers were off their game. So LA is done. Let's go to item number 2. 3 games in the Stanley Cup playoffs last night. We opened with the Caps and the Canadiens. It is Washington moving on into round number 2 with a 4-1 win. They win the series 4-2-1 when it was all said and done. Alex Ovechkin scored again in this one. Tom Wilson also netted a goalie. I mean, normally known for the big hits on defense. He was able to get one through. Logan Thompson faced 29 shots. He saved 28 of them. Washington is moving on. The Sunshine State Showdown goes the way of the Florida Panthers last night. 6-3 winners over the Tampa Bay Lightning. They also win the series 4-1. Alexander Barkov had a goal. Sam Bennett had a goal. Sam Reinhart had a goal. Anton Lundell, Eetu Lusitanen also had goals last night for the Panthers. For Florida last night. Sergei Bobrovsky faced 29 shots, saved all but 3. The Lightning never really got anything going. It was 2-2 after the first period. Florida would take a 4-3 lead at the end of the second, but when the third period rolled around, it was very evident that Florida had the legs that Tampa Bay did not. And we wrapped it up late last night with a 5-3 win. The Winnipeg Jets now hold a 3-2 lead over the St. Louis Blues. Connor Hellebuyck, who, for being one of the best goaltenders on planet Earth, has been struggling in these playoffs. He did let 3 go through last night, but He faced an onslaught in the third period from St. Louis and was able to hold the line. So the Jets now up 3-2 over the St. Louis Blues. We'll get some hockey later on in the show. Let's get to item number 3. The two teams suing NASCAR asked a judge yesterday to dismiss NASCAR's counterclaim in court in a 20-page filing in district court in North Carolina. 2311 Racing, the team owned by Michael Jordan, and Front Row Motorsports opposed NASCAR's motion to amend its original counterclaim. The teams argued that the need to amend the counterclaim further demonstrates the weakness of NASCAR's arguments, calling them an attempt by NASCAR to distract and shift attention away from its own unlawful monopolistic actions that, according to the Associated Press. NASCAR's counterclaim singled out Michael Jordan's longtime business partner, Curtis Polk, who is a co-owner of 2311 Racing. The legal battle began after more than 2 years of negotiations on new charter agreements. You will remember that right before the playoffs last year for the world's biggest second biggest racing circuit, NASCAR decided they were going to offer up take it or leave it charters to their teams. Basically, if you want a charter, you sign this document. If you don't, you don't get one, and you will have to race your way in to every race next year. There are 40 spots each week. 36 of them belong to teams and their charters. There are effectively 4 open spots to be raced into every year. 2311 and Front Row refused to sign, sued NASCAR, alleging NASCAR and the France family that owns the stock car series are a monopoly. They cited NASCAR purchasing the ARCA racing circuit last year, saying, hey, every time a league pops up that could ultimately rival NASCAR just buys them so that there is nowhere else to go and make any money in this industry, which gives them the power to come to us with basically any terms that they want in the charter, and teams have no option but to buy them. NASCAR does not have the antitrust protections, or at least not to the extent that the NFL, NBA, and MLB have. And Jordan, Front Row, 2311 are effectively saying that because they do not have those antitrust protections and because they do not allow any other leagues to try to pop up and compete with NASCAR, they have an illegal monopoly over racing, which prevents 2311, Front Row, and by default, the other NASCAR teams from creating a world in which they can successfully negotiate for better compensatory terms from the sport. We will see if the judge agrees to dismiss the counterclaim amendments or if they let it happen. We will find out. All right. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, I got a few things that I would like to get to on the radio program. A couple of big-time stories that have popped up over the past couple of weeks we have not gotten a chance to get to. We got to get some NHL discussion in here. More NFL draft fallout as we continue to evaluate the draft classes of all 32 NFL teams. Lulu Kessin stopping by in about 42 minutes, 8 a.m. straight up to talk Gamecock baseball, football, and basketball. She'll be followed by Michael Pius, the executive director of the First Tee of the Upstate at 8:20, 8:40. Rashad Beard pulls up to talk Carolina Panthers. We'll get his thoughts on the draft from last weekend. 9 o'clock, Hayden Ass Mario comes by. We'll talk some NBA playoffs with him. 9:20, Fight Club with the great one Lonzo. Plenty to check in as the continued fallout from WrestleMania rolls along, and then the end of the show belongs to you. The Rob Brown Show is live on the Fan Upstate.
Weather Center, here's the Carolinas' most trusted forecast on the fan upstate. The Sunshine.
Going to address it. But now that the NFL has gotten involved, it kind of feels like we have to. The prank call to Shedeur Sanders that got made on draft night has been addressed by the National Football League. The NFL has fined the Atlanta Falcons not over the prank call, just so we're clear. It was not the call itself that is the reason that the Falcons have taken a fine. It is the fact that Jeff Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator, allowed the personal phone number of Shedeur Sanders to end up in the hands of his son. Ulbrich's 21-year-old son admitted to the prank call, which of course he did because he filmed himself and put it on Instagram. I got to tell you, I am doing my darndest not to become the next generation is dumb and I hate them old guy. But sometimes they just make it where I have to be.
Dumb people in every generation behind, dumb people in every generation to come. It's just part of it.
Oh, without a doubt.
I am curious, though. This is the only prank call that happened. Are all the other ones, are they finding out who it was and finding them too?
I have to imagine they're going to, right? Like, Shedeur Sanders obviously was the most visible of this, but there were other guys who received prank calls. I think Tyler Warren said he got one during the draft, and there was, who was the other guy? There was one more guy. That guy, there was at least three where somebody prank called one of these kids and pretended to be an NFL general manager, called and said, "Oh, well, you know, I'm so and so with the so and so's, and we're picking you up here," or as they did to Shador, said, "Oh, it's the Saints, we're picking you here," and then after the Saints made the selection of not Shador Sanders, and you saw that play out. Like there was a video that came out that went viral on social of Deion Sanders sitting on the couch at Shador's draft party, and when the Saints come up on the clock and announce the pick of Tyler Shook out of Louisville, Deion had a visceral reaction. And it was, when it went viral that day, it was very weird because it's like they would not have called Shador Sanders. Like Shador Sanders would know if he was coming off the clock. So why is Deion so visibly frustrated? And now we know why. It's because Shador did receive a call alleging to be the New Orleans Saints saying, "We're taking you here." And then that didn't happen. The reason Ulbrich has been fined is because he received, as every GM, as every coach in the league did, they received, and I saw this yesterday from, one of the NFL dudes for ESPN was on McAfee show talking about it. But they said that there were 2 emails that went out. One of them contained a list of phone numbers for the college players who were eligible to be drafted. And then the NFL sent out a second memo that had just Shador Sanders' phone number. Not because it was special treatment, but because apparently Shador Sanders changed his phone number like right before the draft, like a day or two before the draft. And so they had to send out an update. They had to send out an update with Shador Sanders' new number. And that got out to the son of the Falcons defensive coordinator.
It's funny because this just popped up on my screen, probably because we were talking about it and the phones are listening. Here's a list of players who got pranked: Shador, Shiloh Sanders, Tyler Warren, Kyle McCord, Mason Graham, Chase Lunt, whoever that is, Josh Conley Jr., Abdul Carter, and Isaiah Bond.
Yeah, Texter just wrote in and said Abdul Carter got one, told him he's going to the Jags at number 2, according to ESPN, and that there were 7 players at least who received these prank calls.
All right. I seem to recall this happening last year, but I thought it was like one person. I don't remember it being this many.
I mean, listen.
And so one person did it. It got some publicity. Now everyone's thinking, or a lot of dumb people are thinking, I'm going to do it too.
Prank calls have been a thing, I'm assuming, for as long as calls have been a thing.
Have you ever prank called?
I don't think so.
Oh, I have.
Not that I recall.
I have for sure. Back in the day, me and my friends, we would go through this thing called the phone book, kids, and find weird names.
Why did you keep all your phones in a book?
Yeah, I know. It's for safekeeping. It's kind of like a safe. Anyway, so we would go through and I would just find the weirdest name that we could make a joke out of, and we would call them. We also prank called my English teacher, my 11th grade English teacher. He said his dog was smarter than us, so we prank called him and asked to speak to the dog, but he said he was too busy writing his thesis.
Nerd. Go outside, nerd. I don't think I did. Like I never found entertainment in it. But I can see why. I mean, listen, Bart Simpson has been crank calling Moe's Tavern since I was a child.
We didn't have the internet. So, I mean, what else were we going to do? We could have been hooligans, ne'er-do-wells out, getting in trouble. But instead, we were doing something which, no, is prank calling illegal? I don't know that it is.
Here's your refrigerator running? Exactly. Well, you better go catch it. Do you have Prince Albert in a can? Well, you better let him out.
I never did those, though. I was a little more inventive. I don't like going with what's cliche.
Hello there. Is Anita Weiner available? Hey, is Anita Weiner here? Anita Weiner?
The temptation it is to cut that now and use that. But I'm not gonna, because there are lines that we're not crossing yet. Because if I cross the line, you cross the line.
Is Anita Weiner across the line? There's got to be an Anita Weiner out there somewhere.
No,
right?
That's not. I mean, you saying it, and me having the ability to make that a sound clip. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, because I'm that guy, and I went ahead and Googled Anita Weiner.
Man, I hope you spelled it right.
Oh, for sure. It's a name. Anita. Anita. Apparently, if you head down to Boca Raton, Florida, there was a young lady who is an agent, a real estate agent at Coldwell Banker in Boca Raton, Florida, whose name is Anita Weiner. I wonder how many phone calls she gets on the daily. I wonder if she hates her parents. She has to, right? And she's not an old
she can't
lady.
like shorten it to Nita.
Yeah.
Because
Anita Weiner.
That doesn't help.
That doesn't help at all. She can't use her initial. Hey, everybody. Have y'all talked to my agent, a Weiner? Like they're okay. Okay. I clicked on this one and I feel bad about this, but RIP a couple of weeks ago to Anita Weiner died. So apparently from West Bloomfield, Illinois, deceased Anita Weiner.
And to the streamers asking if we talked about Seymour, no, because that's lowbrow. We're not doing that.
No, I disagree. We just ran out of time yesterday.
That.
If you didn't think I wrote out an entire script just to get to Seymour Weiner, which is absolutely coming down the pipe now that Anita Weiner is on the
I didn't
table.
believe that was real. When I saw it, it's been flashed up on every screen about that dude dying. I was like, there's no way.
Somebody
That's
got
not
got.
real. Yeah.
Somebody got.
Yeah.
Nope. Turns out Seymour Weiner and Anita Weiner are real. Anyway, the NFL has fined the Falcons for, quote, failing to prevent the disclosure of confidential information distributed to the club in advance of the NFL draft. Ulbrich said neither he nor the Falcons would be appealing the fine. Ulbrich said that he reached out to the Sanders family and apologized for the situation. Said that Shador and his father were, quote, amazingly gracious, more gracious than they needed to be in a moment like this. Listen, it's as far as the prank call goes, I fall on it here. Whatever, it's a prank call, but there is a difference between a prank call because nothing's happening and it's funny entertainment versus this kid is sitting there, and you can say whatever you want about Shador Sanders and his, entitled attitude or whatever it is that prevented him from being drafted before the 5th round. This kid is sitting there watching everything he thought was happening in his life go away, pick by pick by pick by pick by pick. I don't like it. All right. If you want to call a bar and ask if Anita Weiner is there, have at it. All right. Have at it. If you want to call and ask if Icy Weiner is in the house, have at it. I'm good with that. It's funny. It's a quick laugh. We all move on.
I'm fixated on a certain name. I am curious, as a father myself, your son just cost you $100,000, I believe was the fine. What's that conversation go like? I know, and dude is 21, but still, what's that conversation?
You are going to be cutting my grass until you die, boy. You are going to be doing DIY projects around my house until you pass away. It is going to be written into my will when I die that you owe me 10,000 more lawn cuts.
You said he did it on Instagram? Is that what he said?
Yeah.
How many hits did he get on that?
He videoed himself and then posted it later on, which is how everybody knew that, he did it. Because, hey, man, internet clout. Now, in fairness, the guy may not know he was doing anything wrong in terms of like breaking the rules of the NFL, right?
Is his dad like a lifelong, not lifelong, but been in the NFL for a while? Because by the way, I didn't know that was a rule either. But still, you would think, oh, dad's really going to be mad at me if I do this. That's probably the worst thing he thought would happen.
Oh, for sure. And again, like, he doesn't work for the Atlanta Falcons. He's just a 21-year-old idiot doing idiot things, man. Like, apparently the Falcons said in a statement that Jax, J-A-X, because of course his name is Jax with an X in it.
All right. I just think that's a cool name. Yeah, a preppy punk jerk name probably, but still I like the name.
Jax with an X is the name of a kid who brags about the fact that his dad is ripping down the youth center to build a coffee lounge or something.
He's also on the golf team and, several things like that.
Listen, I know a lot of kids on the golf team who are cool dudes. This is
all right. I wanted to say the baseball team, but I knew you would come at me for
Jax
that.
is absolutely a baseball name.
Okay. All right.
Jax is absolutely a baseball name. Listen, I'm not saying that if your name is Jax with an X, that you're going to inherently do stuff like this. I'm saying that stuff like this is almost exclusively done by kids with an X in their name. Okay? Like, not all kids with X's in their names act this way, but all kids who act this way have X's in their name. Unless your name is Dexter, kids with an X in the name are the ones who are doing stuff like this.
Jax probably has friends with the names of like Cliff,
Tanner.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
Riley. All right, that one's not fair. Riley's a good, strong name. You get the point. Anyway, Ulrich said in the press conference quote, "I promise my son and I will work hard to demonstrate we're better." Do you think there was any point that Jeff at the podium was like, I'm going to throw my kid under the bus? Forget that. I didn't do anything wrong. This little idiot wrote Shedeur Sanders' name down by taking it off of my team issue iPad at the crib. I wonder if there was any point of Jeff at the podium that wanted to be like, look, my son's a dumbass and I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Like, go full Red Foreman on it.
I think he could have went, hey, listen, trust has been broken within my household. My children knew that leave my work stuff alone, and he didn't do that. And the $100,000 will be taken out of his trust fund. I'm taking the keys to his Ferrari.
Jax is absolutely a trust fund name.
Yeah.
Jax is a trust fund name.
He's not going to be able to hang at the club, the golf club this weekend with his buddies.
Apparently, he's a 21-year-old student at Ole Miss, because of course he is. With a name like Jax, where else do you go to school but Ole Miss? All right, jokes aside, basically, the NFL they give out the phone numbers to kids that you might call to get a pick. The top picks, the international kids apparently had their names on this roster, the ones getting drafted from other countries, etc. And you are expected to keep these kids' phone numbers confidential, and Jeff Ulbrich failed to do that. He took a fine. As far as I am concerned, like, I've seen people making a big deal out of it. As far as I'm concerned, this story's over.
So, yeah, but really, it's not, though, because how do you prevent this from happening next year?
By handing out $100,000 fines primarily.
Well, I know, but if you're that kid and your dad is that dad, maybe $100,000 ain't that bad. So, yeah, I know it rhymed. I got flow, dude. I can't help it. Anyway, does the NFL find a way going forward to make sure that this cannot happen again? Is there some way that they can do this?
I mean, again, like, I don't know what you do past fines. Next thing, maybe you start taking draft picks. But
I'm talking technologically finding a way to make sure that they can't be pranked.
Well, what do you do? I mean, you have one other option, which is you call and you say, I'm going to tell you this number one time. Do not write it down. Memorize it one shot. But at the end of the day, I don't think that they sent Jeff Ulbrich an email that had Shedeur Sanders' personal phone number in it, not via what's the word I'm looking for? An encrypted type of system.
Well, there you go. Maybe an intricate number of pass codes that have to be, typed in before it's the right person.
Homeboy stole it off of his dad's iPad. Like, I guess you could create a rule that says no one outside the team's allowed to, but it's a 21-year-old college
DNA, thumbprints. I don't know.
It's a 21-year-old kid at his dad's house who did a dumb thing. Like, yeah, it's a dumb story. John Dog says, keep work stuff at work. John Dog, I envy you if you have a work but only at work job. NFL coaches do not have a work but only at the office job.
Neither do we. Yeah.
I do at least a couple of hours of work on the daily at the crib. If you came to my house and knew how to get into my computer, you could ruin this radio station in 10 minutes. Okay? I just don't have a 21-year-old kid with an X in their name.
Come on, let's not get crazy. Chris would stop that. He would make sure that didn't happen.
I mean, once he found out it was going on. But again, if a 21-year-old kid was to get access to my computer, yeah, I could be in some trouble. Point here is, as far as I'm concerned, the story's over. It is what it is. It sucks. I actually dislike it for Shador, but it is what it is. All right, a few more stories we need to knock through when we come back. Lulu Kessin at 8, Michael Pius at 8:20, Rashad Beard at 8:40, Hayden Ass Mario at 9, Fight Club at 9:20, Nap at 10:30. The Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate. Are you getting up?
Yes.
All right, be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. of things that I wanted to get to, and I will throw this one out very quickly. I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I was able to find the clip. Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds are the owners of Wrexham Football Club in Wales. Why are we talking Welsh football? Well, there's a very good reason for it. Wrexham FC, which over the last couple of years has become wildly popular both in Wales, in the UK, and internationally, largely because of their celebrity ownership. You may have heard of Ryan Reynolds. He was in a little movie called The Proposal, one of the greatest of all time. His obviously his triumph in his career with Sandra Bullock. He's done a couple other side projects too, but The Proposal, fantastic. So they bought this Welsh 5th-tier football club in the UK. There are multiple leagues that play at different levels. Obviously,
by the way, I thought he sold cell phones.
Yes, he is also a spokesperson and owner of a cell phone company, which is, you're right, Zoe, probably his second most well-known project behind The Proposal.
And also, I thought he was famous for his wife being embroiled in
a bit of controversy.
Yeah, and Taylor Swift unfriending.
Oh yeah,
and also
the drama.
Travis unfriending.
The drama. Wait, unfriended Ryan?
Yes.
Oh, the bromance over.
It's a big deal like yesterday or the day before.
Oh, no.
I know.
The ladies have come between the fellas. Oh, no. I don't know. Honestly, I know everybody's mad at Blake Lively. I don't know why.
There's a...
okay, let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
I don't know why with the Taylor Swift stuff.
I was going to say, there's a pretty big case.
Yeah, I know.
Director, so,
yeah, I know on there was some controversy on the set of a movie that they put out not too long ago where I guess she made some accusations, but then Homeboy brought the text message receipts to show that she might be being a bit dramatic. And of course, Ryan's going to defend his wife, even if she's wrong. That's kind of part of the duties. It's just a weird scenario, but we're not going to get into all that because this is not TMZ. So, Rob McElhenney of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fame, plays a character called Mac. Phenomenal show. It's my favorite television comedy. Honestly, maybe ever. Maybe ever. It's a great show. They bought a 5th-tier Welsh football club, and over the past 5 years, have turned it into an international phenomenon. This team was just promoted, that is to say, succeeded at the league they were at and moved up to the next league up for the 3rd consecutive time. It is the first time in UK football history that a team earned 3 consecutive promotions. This team now, next season, will play in the 2nd highest league in UK football. Rob McElhenney was on Sky Sports.
Realistically, what's the dream?
Premier League. Realistically, I don't know why we would do it for any other reason. I mean, what's the point of the system being in place that allows for a club to move up the ladder from the National League up to the Premier League if you don't try to get from the National League to the Premier League? And I find it also fascinating how often people will say, sure, but what's your real plan? That's the plan. That's the plan. And I don't know why it's not realistic. Why isn't it realistic? Does it mean we won't have to find, at a certain point you are competing with sovereign nation wealth. That's tricky. And when we get there, we'll worry about that when we get there.
So Rob McElhenney was asked, what is your legitimate goal here? And his answer was to make it to the big league, man. To make it to the big league. To make it all the way to the Premier League. And they are on their way up. They will be playing in the championship. There are 24 teams that play at that level. The top 3 teams are promoted up. The bottom 3 teams or bottom 4 teams in the case of the National League are moved down. So he says the goal is to get to the very top. Why am I bringing this up? I am bringing this up to prove to you, because this is empirical proof, that if you have owners that care and can be rewarded for investing in their club, for creating a culture of success around their club, for demanding success from their club, then anybody can do it. This was a club in Wrexham, Wales, an old, if I recall correctly, steel town. Like, in its heyday, during the Industrial Revolution. And then once they started moving manufacturing out of the area, this town basically became a town of people who are employed only in positions necessary for the other people in this town to survive. So there's nothing there. They played in a stadium that was quite literally decades old and falling apart. And Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds stepped in, purchased this club as a passion project, but said, we're going to invest. They started by getting a documentary made. And here's the thing, because I saw somebody yesterday on social media go off and go, okay, but if they weren't A-list celebrities, and I don't even know if Rob McElhenney's an A-list celebrity. Ryan Reynolds is, obviously. Rob McElhenney's like a B, maybe C-list celebrity. If they weren't A-list celebrities, would they have access to the resources that they have access to? Yes. Now, other owners of teams at that level may not have access to those resources, at least not initially. But Reynolds and McElhenney did not come into this with like unlimited money. If you have not watched it, I encourage you to watch Welcome to Wrexham. Even if it's a documentary that followed the purchase and advancement of this club by these two actors, it's, to me, wildly entertaining. And you do not need to be a soccer fan to enjoy it. My wife's not a soccer fan. She watched it with me. She enjoyed it. The point that I am making here is very simple. This is why I have encouraged promotion relegation for years. This is why I am absolutely a believer that until American soccer fully embraces the promotion relegation model, we will not be able to catch up with the rest of the world. This is something that I don't think it is too late to put into other sports. But that NASCAR lawsuit we talked about earlier in the show, the 2311/Front Row Motorsports lawsuit against NASCAR and the countersuit from NASCAR against those two co-plaintiffs, it is kind of trying to set this up. But whether or not we would ever create a system where there are lower tier leagues across sports that have promotion relegation for teams, not just the athletes that play. Because, like, there's promotion relegation for, say, baseball players, right? If you're not producing for the MLB team, you get sent down to single A ball, then double A, then triple A. And if you produce for those teams, you get called back up. And what does it do but ensure that the best baseball players are making it to the highest level because they are producing and showing I'm good enough to move up? When it comes to teams, this creates a reward punishment system for the people that ultimately have the most control over the team, the owners, right? Like, if you have an owner like a Jeff Fisher, owner of the not Oakland Athletics, if you have an owner like that,
Jeff Fisher.
Yes.
Is it? Okay. So not the NFL coach.
Correct. If you have an owner like Jeff Fisher of the not Oakland Athletics, who has zero interest in actually investing in the club and only has interest in having it be as profitable as he can without spending a dollar, and then taking as much money off the top of that as he can possibly get, it creates a system in which if his team sucks like the Rockies do right now, who beat the Braves yesterday, by the way, 2-1, they can't finish the sweep. But if you have a team like that, and that team goes nowhere and does nothing, you get demoted. And if you get demoted, relegated, guess what you lose out on? You lose out on TV time. You lose out on interest from fans. You lose out on all of these resources. And at the end of the day, more than anything else, capital that would be coming in that you could, profit off of. You lose all of that. Versus if you get promoted, if you get moved up, you get more of that. When the USL announced a couple of weeks ago that the owners had approved the promotion relegation model, do you know why I got very excited about it? Because the Greenville Triumph can be Wrexham. They can be Wrexham. They can have a great set of community supporters. They can have a set of owners, as they do, in my opinion, with the Irwins, who go, yeah, we care. We want to be good, and we understand that you have to spend money to make money. So they get invested. They buy into the community buys into them. Players want to be here. They get the best players available at this level. They move up. The owners get more money. The team has more resources. You get access to better players. You get more time on TV to move merch. You get more time on TV to generate interest. You get more resources to burn through. It's a great system. But you got to have owners that care in order to be successful. And the systems we have set up, I'm not asking to change them. I'm not asking for promotion, relegation in Major League Baseball or NFL or NBA, because I know it's never going to happen. That would be a waste of my time, effort, and energy, of which I have very limited. All I'm making the point to you is, if you have ownership that does not care, if you have ownership that is not investing in the program, if you have ownership that is exclusively in the position to profit, not to succeed, your passion as a fan becomes futile. Because it is honestly a waste of time for me to be a fan of the New Orleans Pelicans right now. Why? Because my ownership does not care about it. They own that team exclusively to profit off of it. A little bit year by year, and eventually whenever they sell the team so that it can move to Seattle or whatever. They don't care, which is why Willie Green is going to come back, despite the fact that no one on the team likes the guy, is going to be our head coach again next year with zero justification because they don't care. Here are two owners who bought this team, who went all in on the investment, who bought into the community, who went all in on making it a team that place takes pride in, who went all in on promoting themselves. And would you look at that? Just like that, they go from a fifth-tier Welsh team that nobody outside of Wrexham knows about to a global and cultural phenomenon who has just been promoted to the second highest level of soccer in the country of soccer's origination. Get your owners to invest. If they don't, it's all pointless. Texture said, I visited Wrexham. It's beautiful. It's where they filmed a lot of Harry Potter. I actually didn't know that. I learned something today. All right. Lulu Kesson, when we come back, talks Gamecocks. Then we got Michael Pius, executive director of First Tee of the Upstate. Then we got Hayton Ass Mario at 9 o'clock. Rashad Beard at 8:40 talking Panthers. I don't know why I said those out of order. Fight Club at 9:20 to talk wrestling. Sports Flash now.
The Atlanta Braves were unable to finish the sweep of the Rockies, dropping the finale at Colorado 2-1. Chris Sale was tagged with his third loss, despite giving up just 5 hits and 2 runs across 7 innings. The LA Lakers are headed home, eliminated by the Timberwolves last night with a 103-96 loss. Rudy Gobert had a playoff high 27 points and 24 boards, and Julius Randle added 23. LeBron James was uncertain about his future in the league. Asked if his 22nd career season was the last, James said he doesn't have an answer and that he'll have conversations with friends and family before making a decision. He's like 42. I mean, the Houston Rockets stayed alive with the 131-116 win over Golden State last night, though the Warriors still lead the series 3-2. All 5 Houston starters finish in double digits, led by Fred VanVleet, 26. Hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show coming up. Yeah, so I forgot what hour we were in. I mean, you know. Math is hard is the mantra of the show. Oh, yeah. Yeah, make a phone call. Don't I? Bro, it's back, so your face is in the camera. I just wanted you to know. Yeah.
And away we go. Hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show starts right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and you.
Wonderful.
And perhaps more importantly, joining us now on the phone lines, as she is kind enough to do every Thursday at 8 a.m., a young lady who covers the South Carolina Gamecock athletic department for the Greenville News. She is the lovely Lulu Kesson here on the radio program. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Happy May. How are you?
It is somehow already May. Have you made the Justin Timberlake "It's Gonna Be May" joke yet, Lulu Kesson? Are you even old enough for NSYNC?
I'm okay. I know NSYNC. I know JT. Not my generation. I know what you're talking about, and I haven't yet. But now that reminds me to do that to my friend when she picks me up.
Not my generation.
Not my generation.
The look on your face.
I was already like a grown person when NSYNC was popular. That hurts my feelings a little bit. It's not your fault, Lulu Kesson, but it hurts my feelings a little bit. Let's jump into some stuff here. Let's start with this because I was following along on your Twitter feed, which everybody can do, at Lulu Kesson, Kesin, on X. The Gamecocks unveiling a statue for Dawn Staley yesterday. You were there. You were covering this event in person. Talk to me a little bit about the vibes, man, because they looked very high.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very cool day, a very cool experience. You know, Dawn, I think it was first maybe, 2 years ago that the whole statue thing kind of first came to be. And she very kind of publicly was like, I don't want one. It was a process that sort of took a lot of convincing. But then when she found out that the statue would be built in collaboration with Statues for Equality, and she would be able to help put just more statues of women in the U.S. I think obviously a lot of it, the idea became more attractive to her because she felt it was something bigger than herself. And I think that was sort of the theme of yesterday. It was a lot of talking about Dawn, not just, Coach Staley, which I thought was a very cool thing, just from a human standpoint. She's done so much for Columbia, and she's done so much for so many people, and it was incredibly cool to witness, the new athletic director and the mayor, and these people stand up there and talk about Dawn and how she inspires people, and to quite literally look out at young girls in the audience clapping and looking up to her. So it was a really, really cool day. Really great vibes all around.
Lulu Kesson from the Greenville News joining us here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Lulu, I am ordinarily very against active coaches having statues go up. It just feels weird to me. Alabama did it with Nick Saban. There have been a couple of other college football coaches that have seen this happen over the years. I'm usually very against it. Man, what Dawn Staley has meant to, I don't want to just say women's basketball. I want to say basketball, like the sport of, but I know particularly women's basketball. There was a great quote, and you may be able to tell us who it was that said it yesterday, but and I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along the lines of Dawn Staley used her talent to knock down the door so that other girls wouldn't have to knock as hard. I thought that was such a great quote for a woman in Dawn Staley that is not just put women's basketball on the map, but has led to the charge of, hey, man, it's just basketball at this point. And I think there's something to be said for the weight of that statement.
Totally. And that was an especially cool moment because Dawn said that in the middle of basically saying, like, I didn't want a statue. Statues were for Asia Wilson. I didn't like the idea, yada, yada, yada. And then she was reading about these other, famous women across all different professions that had statues. And she felt like there was a little girl sort of inside of her that, read about a random scientist and felt like a little bit better about who she is and what she could do because she saw a woman be successful following their passion. And so I think it was really cool sort of to give herself that credit because it's true. Like she has, heck, even in some ways for journalists and anyone kind of involved with basketball, Dawn has had this universal impact where she has made it easier for, young girls and women to walk through doors. And so for her to recognize herself in that moment, I thought was really cool and honestly very necessary. And so she wrapped up her speech with that quote, and it was really nice.
I love it. I love it for her. I love it for what she has meant to women's sports. I love it for what she has meant to sports in general. All right, Lulu, let's get a couple of other stories underway here. You brought it up on your Twitter feed yesterday. I have been following this ESPN's transfer portal rankings on the women's side. South Carolina ranked number 3 in the country. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea how they're not number 1. They got the, as far as I'm concerned, best center in the portal and probably the most elite scorer in the portal on the women's side. Why are they not considered number 1? I mean, granted, it's subjective rankings. At the end of the day, who the hell cares as long as they compete next year? But I just found those numbers very interesting.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying there. And I also think, too, like, it's weird. Dawn is, and I'm not trying to just sit on this radio call and just gas up Dawn Staley for 45 minutes. But I think that, like, Dawn gets a weird amount of, like, hate for, like, doing well in the portal because people think, like, oh, that means she doesn't develop her All-Americans, like, outside of high school. And it's like, no, the reason why, like, for example, Ole Miss being number 2, like, yeah, I do think Ole Miss got good players, but also they got a lot of them, which helped their rankings, which sort of is kind of a two-way street. Like, okay, why did they need so many people in the portal? And don't get me wrong, Coach Yo does a great job at Ole Miss. I'm not saying that, but I think that there's this weird idea of, like, okay, the more you get in the transfer portal, like, automatically the better, but, like, that doesn't always work out. So I do genuinely agree that, okay, they got Latson, who is quite literally the most productive scorer in college basketball last year. Like, that alone, not to mention the 6'6" center, I'd argue is enough to at least be number 2.
Lulu Kesson from the Greenville News joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Let's flip it over to football here for just a minute. An interesting pickup for the Gamecocks. Troy Pikes comes over from Georgia Southern. He was apparently a high priority target for South Carolina and picked the Gamecocks over Georgia, over Ohio State, over Georgia Tech, other teams that were intrigued in the young man coming up from the Sun Belt Conference. Lulu Kesson, this is a bit of a coup, I think, for Shane Beamer to land this kid when he was being pursued by Ryan Day and others. This, to me, is this a culture pickup? Is this a kid feels like they can help him get to the league? Like, what do you know about this pickup and where we are in the portal overall for the football side of things right now?
Well, it's funny because, like, 10 minutes before he signed, I was talking to another reporter and I was like, hey, like, what else do you think South Carolina needs in the portal right now? Like, we were kind of going back and forth because Shane had been very clear that he wanted the edge room to have more depth. And then he went in the portal and signed 2 edge rushers. So I was like, all right, like, he did his job there. Okay, where else? And he was like, a fellow reporter was like, definitely, I think he needs, like, maybe at least one more D lineman. And then Troy signs like 5 minutes later. So I do think that Demetrius Knight and Kyle Kennard set a standard at South Carolina where I'm not saying this is directly related, but I do think the timing of, you know, him committing after the draft, seeing all the success South Carolina had on the defensive side. I mean, that this was 2025 was the most defensive players that South Carolina has ever had selected in one draft class. So I think that, to get back to your question, like, you only kind of need one good year in the SEC, just like Demetrius Knight and Kyle Kennard proved this year, to make an impact. And I imagine that when, you know, you're targeted by Ryan Day, you're targeted by Kirby, like, there's a lot that's going into your decision. So I'm not saying that it's just that, but I do think that a new standard for what South Carolina can do out of the portal was set with the success it had, you know, with these one-year players who, I'm going to be honest, I did not look at the depth chart last year and think that Demetrius Knight and Kyle Kennard would make the impact that they did.
And then you talk about the fact that you look at Nick Eamon-Warrior, you look at the fact that the Gamecocks had 3 players selected in the second round. They had a few more pickups on day 3. They've had at least a handful of kids that have signed UDFA deals to go into camp and earn a spot on an NFL roster. Like, it is not just about the culture that Shane Beamer's been building, and we have talked so much about that, but the numbers are starting to show up, right? Like, the numbers are starting to prove that this team can send you to the league if you're the right guy and you're willing to earn it, which to me is every bit as big in terms of getting young, good talent to come there. Kids, yeah, they want to make that NIL money, Lulu Kessa, but they also want to know they got a shot at getting to the show. And Shane just sent a bunch of guys to the show. There's something to be said for that.
Absolutely. And I do think, too, like the house settlement obviously is in, like, I don't want to say a weird place right now, but there, as much as there's certainties, heading into 2025 that things will be different, there's still a lot of unknowns. So I do think that, it's one thing to focus on money and NIL and, athletes are going to, but at the same time, exactly to your point, I think that some are being realistic in the fact, like, okay, I'm not giving up my dream to play in the NFL. I'm going to go to a program that can turn me into an NFL draft pick in one season.
Yeah, and I think, again, you mentioned Kyle Kernard. I got a chance to interview him a couple of weeks ago at the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame induction dinner. And when I talked to him off the record a little bit about, getting excited for the draft, what are you doing to prep? How are you getting ready? I asked him, like, what would you say was the biggest thing that drove you to get to this spot where you're going to be a draft pick? And his answer to me, Lulu Kessin, was that locker room feels like it feels like a spot you walk in every day wanting to be better. And it feels like a spot that is going to allow you that opportunity. You've got to go out there and take it. I'm looking at the cats that are coming in. I'm looking at the locker room culture that's being built there. And not only does it feel like the players truly believe I can be great here, but now Shane's cranking out NFL talent to prove that that is the case.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you got to talk to Kyle. He lived in my building, so I would occasionally see him walking to his car. But he obviously moved out in December, so he hasn't been here for a while. But I do think that's a great point. Like, a lot of people love to kind of make fun of the Beamer cheesiness or, call him corny for the way that he so publicly cares about his team. But at the same time, he's doing it for a reason, and he's doing it to benefit his team. And clearly the last couple years have, shown a lot of growth and success, not even to mention what the NFL draft has been 5 players last year, 5 this year. So I think it's things are trending in an upward direction at South Carolina. And I do think that these, transfers from just lesser known schools are really valuing that.
All right, real quick before we let you go, Lulu Kessin from the Greenville News joins us ad-free Thursday at 8 o'clock to talk Gamecocks. Just want to do a quick overview, check in on the baseball team. Interestingly enough, take 2 out of 3 at home against Ole Miss before a weekday win against UNF. Then they go and drop 2 out of 3 against Kentucky this week and then get a win over Charleston Southern. Now you're on the road against Florida, a very good Florida baseball team. Can you just kind of give us an update on where this team is, what you see? I think at this point in the season with 3 series left to play. Winning the SEC tournament might be the only ticket to the postseason for South Carolina. What are they looking like as we march to the end of the regular season?
Yeah, I mean, that's how I see it right now. That's kind of the only way I see them, having any chance at postseason success. But, they potentially lost Ethan Petrie for the season, which is incredibly tough. Coach Maneri gave an update earlier this week that said, he could be out for the season, at least 2 to 3 weeks. Some type of, shoulder arm injury that he sustained in the Kentucky game. And that's a huge loss, in my opinion. That's classic when it rains, it pours for South Carolina. The baseball season is not going how you want it to, and then you lose your star hitter and sort of just this rock to the team. I mean, in my opinion, when Ethan Petrie announced that he was coming back and not hitting the transfer portal after Mark Kingston was fired, I thought that was incredibly telling about what he wanted to do in Columbia and what, the vision he saw. And I'm sure I speak for half the team when, I acknowledge that the season is not going how they wanted to, but, losing him to injury right now is kind of the last thing you need. And this Florida series, man, it's important. It's really tough to end the year with a series against LSU. So I think anything South Carolina can do between now and then will help them, mentally, obviously potentially seeding wise, but a lot of doors are starting to shut overall, I think, for this season.
Lulu Kessin covers the Gamecock athletic department for the Greenville News. Kind enough to join us every Thursday at 8 a.m. Lulu Kessin, I'm going to need you to go back and listen to the entire NSYNC No Strings Attached album and give us a full review next Thursday.
Okay, don't worry. I know NSYNC. I just was -6 in 1995.
How did you make it worse? How did you make I was it was fine. I was going to make a joke out of it, and then you said -6.
Can you stay on the rest of the show and do nothing but this, Lulu? 'Cause I'm enjoying every second of it.
Oh,
I'm so sorry. I hear 1995 was a great year, though. I've heard good things.
thank you, Lulu Kessin. It's wonderful to have you. Talk to you next week. Appreciate it.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Lulu Kessin from the Greenville News. She's the best. Lonzo's just mad because his boy band was the Jackson 5.
Actually, what's wrong with that? It was more like New Edition. Your boy band is when you're a teenager, so my boy band was New Edition. So
I heard 1995 was a great year.
New Edition could beat any of your boy bands.
Ugh. First off, no, they couldn't.
Absolutely.
Okay, no.
Without New Edition, none of your boy bands would exist.
So what? Doesn't mean they were better than them.
Well, yeah, it kind of does.
The Model T is not better than a Ferrari.
If they weren't better, then it wouldn't have progressed.
No, that's not how things work.
This is absolutely how it works in the boy band
You can have a
business.
Model T or Ferrari. What are you taking? You're taking the Ferrari. Wouldn't be a Ferrari without the Model T, but you're taking the Ferrari. No, New Edition does not hold a candle to NSYNC. Sorry.
Absolutely does.
Sorry.
Man, you're old. It's established I'm old. That's not even a joke anymore. I'm a grandpa.
I have not accepted it, even though I have to accept it. Michael Pius, the executive director of the First Tee of the Upstate, joins us in the next segment. Big weekend for one of my favorite charities to support. We'll talk to him coming up in the next segment. Then Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast joins us at 8:40 to talk Panther draft response. Hayden Ask Mario at 9. Fight Club at 9:20 and more are coming up on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. I heard 1995 was a good year.
Everyone knows without a doubt that's going to be a promo. Rob Brown Show. Hey, we've got about a minute left in this break, and then Rob will be right with you. Yep, hang on. If he makes it back in time. So I did something to my elbow, and I didn't notice it till at the softball game yesterday. My daughter's like, "What'd you do to your elbow?" And now it hurts. It didn't hurt before then. So is it only hurting because it was mentioned? I think it's armrest friction. That's the only thing. I mean,
Armrest friction.
Like you don't move around a lot. And I think it's more from the office because the cloth I think it's akin to a rug burn. That's what I'm going to go with. That's Rod, Stephen. Get us right. How long does this gorilla thing keep going? It's amazing how it's still going today. So I hope they still have it when we go to the movies tonight, but they have Darth Vader head things that go in your drink. Got to get me one of those.
Darth Vader thing that goes in your drink?
On your drink.
Oh, like a lid?
Yeah. I guess the lid would be what the thing is that I'm trying to think of. I guess it's a decorative lid? I don't know. It's a pop top. That's what it is.
Wonderful.
Welcome back to Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Ladies and gentlemen, this weekend on Saturday is the Kentucky Derby. Now, I have made it obvious, and I don't mean to do anything in anybody's particular cornflakes.
Are you a bow tie guy, though? I mean, can you rock the
I am
bow
not,
tie?
but it's because I can't pull it off. It's not out of, I don't have anything. I'm not anti-bow tie. I just can't pull it off. I've tried.
I've worn one once, and I believe I rocked the thing. But, I mean.
Your confidence is never lacking, though. And I respect that.
I did that to go win an award, I mean.
I can't pull it off. You know what I can pull off?
By the way, it was Kentucky Derby night at the Star Awards.
Of course it was.
That's why I wore a purple bow tie.
The Kentucky Derby produces, it is to me, and I'm going to say this, hopefully not to the chagrin of my next guest. I'm not a Derby guy. I think it's the most overrated event in sports. However, I think it consistently, constantly, and annually produces the best parties in all of sports. Ain't no party like a Kentucky Derby party, all right? Even if you're not into the ponies, Kentucky Derby parties go hard in the paint. And that is why we go back to the phone lines. To welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, the executive director of the First Tee of the Upstate and buddy of the show, both on and off the air. Ladies and gentlemen, making his Rob Brown Show return, the legendary Michael Pius joining us here on the show. Mikey, baby, what's up, big dog? How you doing, buddy?
Thanks, Rob. Gearing up for another big party. Like you said, I mean, right now I'm deep in it. I couldn't even tell you who's the odds-on favorite for the Derby, but I do know that we're going to put on a great show, great party Saturday at Thornblade. What a great spot that we're going to be at. This is our first time hosting that Thornblade. We're really excited about Saturday.
I have no doubt. Y'all's Kentucky Derby parties are the stuff of legends. I've made it out to one. Hopefully going to make it out Saturday to number 2. It's a tremendous event that you guys throw on every single year. Talk to me about this year's, obviously being at Thornblade for the first time, a little bit about what folks can expect going on if they're one of the wise ones who purchase a ticket to show up.
Yeah, so we've got 3 ticket options still available. We've got our designated driver ticket for $50. That's if you don't want to enjoy any mint juleps, you could just come out to the party and have a great time and bid on auction items and whatnot. Then we've got our general admission ticket, which is $100. That also gets you a $15 Uber credit, so to get you to and from the event safe and sound, so you can enjoy those mint juleps and other cocktails during the event. And then we've got our VIP ticket, which gets you in an hour early. And we've got Maker's Mark back again to do a special bourbon tasting from 4 to 5. So that'll be a great. And then also the Uber credit there is $25. So it gets you a little more money on the Uber trip there and back. So Yeah, it's good. We got tickets for everyone. We got amazing auction items. We've got a couple live auction items too, but we have a threesome at Chanticleer. We've got a stay and play package at Old Barnwell. We've got great experiences, like we've got 4 tickets to the PGA Championship at Quill Hollow in just, is that 2 weeks from now, for Saturday. So those tickets are hard to get. So we got 4 tickets up to Quail on Saturday's round. For Saturday's round, we've got a dinner experience at Sobeys Wine Cellar, spa packages. I mean, all kinds of stuff. And it's Mother's Day next weekend. So you want to make sure that you get the great gift for your mother at the auction. We've got a lot of great opportunities there. If you go to 2025derby.givesmart.com, you can bid on auction items right now. Actually, we've got about, I don't know, maybe 70 or so items up on the site right now. So even if people can't make it to the event, they can still get involved with our mission here at the First Tee and support the kids and teens that we impact each day.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Michael Pius, Executive Director, First Tee of the Upstate. And exactly what that mission is. Now, we've had you on the show before and talked about it, but I don't think you can talk about it too much. You guys do a fantastic job of taking youth and not just giving them an opportunity to learn golf, but to learn the lessons that come along with this game. Lessons that, like patience and self-forgiveness, Michael Pius, that I, as a 40-year-old player, still have to sometimes remind myself of. You guys are giving kids an opportunity to jump in the game, perhaps a little bit earlier than they might, to kind of give them a leg up over some of the challenges, some of the hurdles that can stand between playing the game, learning its lessons, and the youth of the Upstate. The mission is to give them that experience as both a player and a person.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we're creating unique experiences, fun experiences for kids and teens to build their inner strength. You know, we're preparing these kids, these young people, for what life is going to throw at them. And, we do this by kind of focusing on these 5 key commitments of pursuing goals and growing through challenging experiences, collaborating with others, building positive self-identity, and how to use good judgment. These are all traits that are going to make them great golfers, but even better people. So, we do that at 3 main programs we run is our school program, our outreach program, which is like partnered with the Kroc Center in downtown Greenville, and Viking Early College in Spartanburg, and the Boys and Girls Club down in Greenwood. We're in 7 counties now. 8 years ago, we were in 3. So we continue to grow and create these, again, fun and unique experiences for these kids to grow and learn about themselves and others, and how to be better people. And obviously our biggest, where we make the most impact is at our green grass facilities, where we partner with a number of locations. Like this summer, we've got 9 locations right now that will be hosting either our weekly summer camps or our 6-week summer session. And if there are parents out there, aunts, uncles of young kids, grandparents that are looking for something for their kids to get involved in this summer, this is a great way to get onto our website, firstteeupstate.org/register, and they can take a look at all the different class offerings. We already have a few classes that have a wait list. So if, there is a wait list, make sure that you click on that and get on the wait list. We do open up spots. And also we can go to these golf courses and say, hey, we need more time. Golf has been booming over the past 5 years since COVID, and we're just asking for, more time at these golf courses. And if we can show them that we have wait lists, they're more likely to, open up their doors a little bit more to our programming.
It is a tremendous organization, tremendous opportunity. First Tee of the Upstate, Executive Director Michael Pius joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Their Kentucky Derby party going on this Saturday at Thornhub. Mike, I told you earlier, I've said it before, not a derby guy, not a horses guy, but the parties are legendary. The parties are undefeated. If folks are looking to get out and come enjoy the derby with you guys, where should they go?
Yeah, go to our website. It is 2025derby.givesmart.com. You can also find it on our main website, firstteeupstate.org. Go to events and then click on Derby. It'll bring you to that page that way too. But again, like if there are so many derby parties going on now. I mean, we used to be the only show in town. I think there's like 10 or 15. They don't match up to what we're doing. I mean, we've been doing this. This is our 10th year. Come out, have a great time, support our mission, support the kids and teens that we impact. And again, if you can't make it out, you can also get onto the website, click on that button that says I can't attend, and you'll get text message alerts on different auction items that are popping up and ways to support us. So we're looking forward to having a great event. You don't have to get dressed up. Oh, I got to mention this. This is an addition. We've got $500 on the line for best dress this year. So break out that bow tie and get that big hat ready because we've got some money to shell out to some best dress. So we're gonna have a great time at Thornblade. Again, VIPs get in at 4. General admission gets in at 5. We'll wrap up the party probably around 7:30. The race, the post time is 6:57. So we'll have some great food and great drinks and a great time making a difference in these kids' lives.
I have no doubt the only thing better than a Kentucky Derby party is a Kentucky Derby party that you get to leave and feel better about yourself because you helped out the youth of the community. And that is why Michael Pius, executive director of the First Tee of the Upstate, is here. My man, it is great to have you. I know it's going to be a killer event. I am very much hoping that the wife and I are going to be able to make it out. As of right now, we are planning on it because where else would I be for the Derby than hanging out at the best Kentucky Derby party in the Upstate?
Yes, sir. You got tickets, so just let me know, and they're yours. So. And also, if you want to, I don't know if you're able to do this, but if you want to give away 2 general admission tickets on the show, I'm more than welcome to give out some tickets to some listeners today. So if you, however you want to do that, just let me know.
I will do that. I will circle back around. Michael Pius, the executive director of First Tee of the Upstate, one of my favorite charities to support. My man, great to have you as always, big dog. Let's get out and swing them around and embarrass myself a little bit sometime soon, pal.
Yeah, we got to tee it up. I mean, this weather is unreal. And gosh, how great. We got to talk about PGA Championship over the next couple of weeks because Rory, I think he's going to win it. And I think he's going to go for a run here at the Grand Slam for the year. You know, he already finished the career Grand Slam, which is great. But, I mean, this is going to be a great year for major championships for golf.
Taking that long to get the career Grand Slam to then turn around and go calendar Grand Slam might be might be the greatest accomplishment in golf history, honestly.
Oh, it would be amazing.
How about our boy? How about Justin Thomas though picking it up, man? I'm not thinking. I think there's a chance he might make some noise.
That would be a lot of fun coming down Sunday. The Green Mile at Quail with Justin Thomas and Rory battling it out. That'd be a lot of fun to watch.
Sign me up, Michael Pius, executive director, First Tee of the Upstate. Brother, great to talk to you, buddy. Appreciate you coming by, pal.
Thanks, Rob.
Anytime. Michael Pius, executive director, First Tee of the Upstate. Love that guy. Good dude. When we come back, another guy I love. Another good dude. Rashad Beard, the host of the Panther Nation podcast, is going to join us. We'll react to the Panthers draft next. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and you. It is the Fan Upstate.
And yes, Alex, he said that, but I didn't want to correct him in front of, that's one. I just let that go. So.
I'm going to leave the room for just a
second. That was just, it was.
You know the reason for that they call it that.
No, but still, I mean,
Be right back, guys.
Sometimes you talk too fast
Yep.
and things happen.
Yep.
But if you don't know the story, it definitely sounds like
Also
something
that,
else.
yep. Also
So
Rashad Beard, what's up, fella?
What's going on, guys?
I feel like I ain't talked to you in like a month and a half, pal.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. Feel like it.
did you get sun?
Yeah, everybody's saying that. Yeah, I did.
Oh, because
I
you.
went-
Yeah, I mean, your forehead is dark.
Okay, in
Yeah.
fairness, Rashad
have
ain't
my-
been on this stream without a hat or a bandana
Yeah,
in a
I got
minute.
it.
So
I got it in my hand. I caught the link a little late, so I got to get ready. I'm not fully in my
Word.
attire, but yeah,
Word, get your face
I
on.
did.
Hey, you
I
want me to
did.
take your stream off? You can get your foundation going and
no, you're
everything.
He was on vacation. I mean, give him a break.
Yeah, I
mean,
did. No, I did catch some sun though. I was in Aruba, so I did catch some sun.
Aruba?
Yeah.
I was in Aruba.
All right, now we ready.
There we go.
The cape is on.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. Rob Brown, the great Malonzo, and you. It is the Fan Upstate on Thursdays at 8:40. Unless he's off sipping Mai Tais on some tropical island somewhere. The host of the Panther Nation podcast, the legendary, the iconic Rashad Beard swings by to talk some Panther football. How we feeling there, world traveler?
Yeah, I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. The draft is over, and so I feel good about the draft. I'm not the only one that feels good about the draft. You know, for the first time in like forever, the national media loves our draft. So I mean, this is great. I feel good about the Panthers and where we're heading.
Listen, we're going to get to it. Obviously, we're going to get to it. That's why we have you here. My man during the break hits us with, yeah, I was in I don't mean to give it away, but drinking on the beach in Aruba last week. Thanks for putting in the hard work, for showing back up, buddy. That's all I'm saying. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you got to come back. You got to come back. I mean, I'm a man of the people, so I always give the people what they want.
Give the people what they want.
I may never go to Aruba, but I know a guy who did, and he looks like he had a good time.
I did.
Rashad Beard joining us here on the show. All right, let's get into it. Of course, the NFL draft last weekend. You mentioned the fact that it has been pretty positively reviewed, Rashad Beard, the draft class of the Carolina Panthers. We'll get into some of the individual picks here in a second, but just your overall thoughts on it.
Yeah, overall, man, I thought that the Panthers let the draft come to them. They didn't do too much reaching, and they addressed a lot of the areas that need improvement. And so I'm happy, man. I couldn't be more happy with the draft. Now it's up to the coaching staff to get the best out of them, but I don't think the draft could have went any better. I thought there was, as the draft went on, a lot of offensive guys went in the first round, which allowed the draft to fall the way it did for us. And so, yeah, couldn't have went any better for the Carolina Panthers. I'm happy.
Let's get into the individual stuff here. Let's start with the first pick overall, Tedero McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona. You said multiple times, Rashad, that you wanted a wide receiver in this draft. Was that the one that you wanted? Are you good with the pick? You pass on Jalen Walker, who I wanted to be the pick for the Cats, but you get your wide receiver and you get a guy that apparently a lot of other teams maybe coveted a little bit more than we thought that they did. Apparently the Dallas Cowboy war room kind of went to shambles a little bit when he came off the board at 8 to Carolina. Your thoughts on adding Big T to the mix?
Well, before we talk about T-Mac, I don't want to say his name because he prefers to be called T-Mac. And so before we get to that, we got to talk about and give credit to Dan Morgan and those guys for holding the cards tight, bro. Like everything was in the media was said it's going to be Jalen Walker. It's going to be Jalen Walker. It's going to be Jalen Walker. Nobody in Panther Nation really, we all said it. I thank you for giving me credit. I said that the Carolina Panthers needed to get a wide receiver. I have been on record saying that for the entire draft process. But nobody thought that the Carolina Panthers were going to actually take a wide receiver top 10. And so I give Dan Morgan, those guys, all the credit in the world for holding the cards tight and not just going what everybody thought, right? Jalen Walker was supposed to be the pick. They pivoted and went T-Mac. But as far as T-Mac, the individual, man, I think I said this on my show the other day. I think T-Mac is the perfect puzzle piece for this offense, right? When you look at Bryce Young and how he plays, when he's able to extend plays and get out the pocket and create, T-Mac is the perfect guy because you start to play that backyard ball. He can use his speed, his long speed to get open, and you throw it up and T-Mac is going to get it. That's the type of guy this offense needed. And I think this is the perfect puzzle piece. He's got elite body control, elite tracking of the football, and he can catch. How many drops did we see last year, right? We talked about it. All those drops that we saw, right? That is not going to happen with T-Mac. He's got really big catch radius. He can catch everything coming his way. So I love this pick. It's a great pick for Bryce Young, and Bryce Young should be elated that he has another weapon on that offense.
I am not disagreeing. I want to play devil's advocate about one thing just to get your response on it, okay? The one thing is this. Does not have elite top end speed. You're right. Great ball catcher. 50-50 balls become 70-30 balls when T-Mac's down there. Guy who understands body positioning in order to take advantage of spots. But my thought was still need a guy to take the roof off. Do you believe that Jalen Coker is that guy and this frees him up to be that spot? And that's why this is the right pick, because the one thing you don't have yet is what I like to refer to as the somebody down there somewhere offense, which I thought we would address later in the draft. You didn't do that. So is this belief that Jalen Coker can be your take the top off wide receiver, or is there something else I'm not seeing here?
Yeah, I'm not sure that Jalen Coker is that type of guy. I think Jalen Coker it fits better in the slot, right? I think he's that type of guy, and I think that he is going to be more your Adam Thielen replacement. So I don't think Coker is that type of guy. However, I do think Leggett he runs a 4.3, right? Why are we overlooking the fact that Xavier Leggett can be that guy? He can get open. We've seen Xavier Leggett stretch the field. He just didn't complete the catches, right? So if he gets better, I think Xavier Legette can be that guy to take the top off. And I think you have a nice complement of receivers. If there is a diverse skill set now in that wide receiver room. And I just think, listen, I think T-Mac has to get better in some areas. I think he can get open. If he gets better with his releases off the line of scrimmage, I think he can get open quickly. And again, he's got long speed. And with the way Bryce Young extends plays, once T-Mac gets ahead of steam, he can run past you, right? It's just a matter of extending those plays. So listen, I like this pick. I think, can you nitpick it and find areas? Sure, we can do that. But I think when you have a coach such as Dave Canales and Idzik, who are wide receiver guys, they're going to get the best out of this guy. And I firmly believe that he's going to be our Mike Evans. He's going to be our DK Metcalf. He's going to be that guy, wide receiver one, incoming. T-Mac's the guy.
All right, outside of T-Mac, I'm looking down. Ransom, Cam Jackson's a very interesting defensive tackle in the 5th round. Jimmy Horn Jr. in that 6th round could be very interesting. Outside of T-Mac, give me your 1 or 2 favorite picks out of this. I'm not saying best. I'm saying favorite.
Yeah, so one of my favorite picks is Nick Scorton, who we picked up in the 2nd round. They had a 1st-round grade on him. Edge rusher, we all know that the Carolina Panthers needed help. And I'll package him up. Princely as well. The 2nd and 3rd round picks, we needed both of those guys, right? We needed to double dip in edge. That's something that we mentioned on this show several times. So I love both of those picks. I think they're 2 different types of guys. Princely's more of a speed edge rusher off the edge. Think Brian Burns, not necessarily Brian Burns' talent level yet. I think he could develop into that, but think Brian Burns. And then Nick Scorton is more of a run-stopping edge. He can also rush the passer. He was doing different things with Texas A&M. They asked him to put on some weight, but if you go back and look at his Purdue film, the man was great. Okay, he's a great pass rusher. He's a great run stopper. He's that combo guy that we needed. So I love Nick Scorton. That's one of my favorite picks. The Cam Jackson is a great pick as well. We needed a nose tackle in that Evil Road defense. So I think that was a great pick. Oh man, I get excited towards the back end of the draft. Mitchell Evans, tight end. I mean, did we watch him in Notre Dame the year before he got hurt? I mean, this guy can be really, really good if he gets healthy. We don't need him to lock in right now at this moment because we've got Tommy Tremble, we've got Jatavion Sanders, so he can take a couple years to develop. But boy, he's a great blocker, which is what we need if you want to run the football like we want to run the football. So you got a good blocking tight end who can win 8 to 10 yards, right? Between 8 to 10 yards, he's a problem as far as catching the football. And then you got Jimmy Horn. I know. Do I like the whole draft? Almost. I almost like the whole draft, Rob. I can go through everything. This whole draft was very good. I'm going to be honest. I like everything about the draft except for one pick.
You can't just stop that sentence right there, dog.
No, but listen,
you gotta finish. No.
He took a drink.
No, he was gonna stop.
Perfect.
He was gonna stop. He was gonna let that be a little tease, a little cliffhanger. And I'm not here for it, Rashad. You can't say that and then not finish it.
Let him be a pro. I mean, come on. What are you doing, Rob?
Okay. All right. So one of the picks I was not in love with is the Trevor Etienne pick. I like the fact that we got a running back. I don't like where we got this running back because I do think we could have got Trevor a little bit later in the draft. I think we reached a little bit there. I think he does. Again, there's an advantage to him because he doesn't have a lot of tread. He hasn't been utilized a lot in Georgia, right? So he split backfield. That was not one of my favorite picks because, again, he's going to be RB3. You picked up an RB3 in the 3rd round. Not really happy about it. And it's not really the individual, right? I think we picked up a running back because we had to pick up a running back because of Jonathan Brooks, right? Jonathan Brooks being injured makes us. So it's not necessarily the individual. Trevor's cool. I just don't like the fact that we had to reach for a running back because of the injuries, and it's really nobody's fault.
All right, where does Hunter Renfrow fit in all of this? Somebody posted a graphic yesterday of the Bryce Young rookie year wide receiver room versus this year's wide receiver room, and it was a joke. It was laughable. Then you add Hunter Renfrow, who is Mr. Reliable, Mr. Consistent, sat out last year because of a head injury, but was performing very well for the Raiders before they let him go. Where does he fit into this receiver room? Is there room for him on the roster on opening day?
Oh man, that's such a tough question. And before we go there, can we acknowledge the competition in the room? Can we acknowledge the increased talent in the wide receiver room, like that's impressive to me. So you bring in Hunter Renfrow, who hasn't played last season, didn't play last season at all due to some health issues. But boy, did we watch his film when he was with the Raiders? Like this dude was solid, right? And he adds some ability in the return game, which is something important, is something that we need. Also, he's a very, very good wide receiver, very steady. Right. And I think there is room for him. I think we could keep 6 to 7 wide receivers, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough out for everybody. And I think that's the purpose of bringing in a Hunter Renfrow, is to push that entire room. If he doesn't, return to that prior skill set and the abilities that he was prior, then hey, it is what it is. At least we took a stab at it, right? So again, I think it's a win-win situation for Hunter Renfrow and the Carolina Panthers. But boy, if he turns the page a little bit to those prior years, it could be really, really good for the Carolina Panthers.
Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joins us every Thursday at 8:40 to talk Panther football with us. Listen, I know we got another week till we do this again, Rashad Beard, but I got to tell you, pal, in the, 4-ish years that you've been coming on this show, pal, I don't think there has been an interview that you have radiated, and it ain't just the Aruba sun effect, man. Like, you are floating right now, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. And I'm excited because of continuity, right? We finally have a head coach that's going to get a second year, and he actually has time to build his program, and we're going to see some development, right? We're actually going to get to see this coach execute his plan. And when things tend to line up, right? They're looking like things are lining up for the Carolina Panthers to be really good. Bryce Young is turning the corner. The defense on paper has improved across the board. We brought in some guys in the offseason, added to it in the draft, right? Things are heading in the right direction. So I feel good about it. I feel really, really good about where things are going. And I think Panther Nation should.
Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast. You can find them on X at Panther Nation PC. More important, get subscribed to the YouTube channel where they are live like all the time. Y'all you and Dave Boy take a nap on Sunday night. I imagine y'all got to have zonked for like 2-3 days straight.
Yeah. No, we're good, man. We're locked in. So no days off. No days off for PNP. We locked in. We still got to go over the undrafted guys. So it's a lot of work to do. It's a long off season. We're gonna break it all down. But feel good about it.
You got to be a degenerate to do a UDFH pod. But here we are, fella.
Listen, no days off, man. We all in. Panther Nation podcast. Let's get it.
Rashad Beard from the PNP joins us every Thursday at 8:40 to talk Panther football. Hating ass Mario Herron from the BetMGM Network is next. We'll talk some NBA playoffs. The Rockets stave off elimination. The Lakers eliminated. We'll find out what Mario's thoughts are when we come back. That's after Lonzo blows your mind with his sports flash.
Well, I mean, if I do that, how simple are you? The LA Lakers are headed home, eliminated by the Timberwolves last night with a 103-96 loss. Rudy Gobert had a playoff high 27 points and 24 boards, and Julius Randle added 23. LeBron James was uncertain about his future in the league, asked if his 22nd career season was his last. James said he doesn't have an answer and that he'll have conversations with friends and family before making a decision. The Houston Rockets stayed alive with a 131-116 win over Golden State last night, though the Warriors still lead the series 3-2. All 5 Houston starters finish in double digits, led by Fred VanVleet's 26. The Atlanta Braves were unable to finish the sweep of the Rockies, dropping the finale at Colorado 2-1. Chris Sale was tagged with his third loss, despite giving up just 5 hits and 2 runs across 7 innings. Hour number 4 of the Rob Brown Show is coming up next, right here on The Fan, Upstate.
We have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ for the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
For over 8 years, Future Genetics is the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain, with over 50,000 satisfied patients. Even the knee is pain, now they begin to take shoulder and hip pain. Hey, it's Charlie James. What they're doing is nothing short of remarkable. They're using regenerative cell therapy to restore the tissue in your aching joint. They're using biologic growth factors with robust healing properties. Strategically placed in your joint. It's a powerful and potent way to give your joints new life, restoring old tissue. That's why with Future Genetics, there's no drugs, no surgery is involved, and there's no downtime. This is an all-natural cellular level option with lasting relief. The patient satisfaction reports are astounding. Imagine doing all the things you enjoyed this summer without being slowed down by that awful joint pain in your knees or your back. Call QC Kinetics now and learn about these cutting-edge treatments that can help you live your best life. Call 864-448-3772 in Greenville and in Nashville. 864-448-3772.
Said Mario thing.
448-3772.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets: appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power.
Oh, there he is.
And on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions.
Oh, we're hat guy today.
Right back at you.
I'm always hat guy, buddy.
I remember when those soccer jerseys came out, and I thought they were the sickest soccer jerseys I've ever seen. And I had like a friend that just shit on it because it looks like they're in a pageant, beauty pageant. And
they're called the pageant stripes.
Oh, that makes sense. But I was like, I think they're cool. I like it.
I like this. This is one of my favorite. They made this one, but they also made it in red with a blue stripe. I love that jersey. Love that jersey.
Nice. Is that Landon Donovan? Not Landon Donovan.
No, this one's just generic, no name on the back because, golly, this jersey's what 15, 16 years old, and I bought it when it dropped. These jerseys are old. Yeah, these jerseys are old.
Man, that just made me feel so old.
I don't want to hear it. We had one of our beat reporters on earlier, and I made the Justin Timberlake "It's Gonna Be May" joke, and I was like, "Are you old enough for NSYNC?" And she's like, "Oh no, they were before I was born," and it hurt my feelings a lot.
I mean, she's probably around my age then. I caught the end of them. I think
I wouldn't be. You're young enough. I wouldn't be shocked if you were here because of NSYNC.
Probably. Timberlake's goated though. He's pretty sick.
Timberlake's put out some bangers. Ain't no doubt.
No doubt.
I'm not in this conversation because I'm extremely old. So I mean,
Lonzo's boy band was the Jackson 5.
It was not. It was New Edition. Yeah, you got to stop. It wasn't Jackson 5.
I don't even think I heard a New Edition. I know New Kids on the Block. That's the Boston crew.
Right? Do you know Bobby Brown? Doesn't know Bobby Brown either. Okay.
Negative. Trying to think if I know that.
Every Little Step I Take, My Prerogative.
Oh, every step I take. That
will be there. You're thinking of a.
You did the theme for Ghostbusters 2.
And here we go. The fourth and final best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show starts now. It is the fan upstate. Rob Brown, the great Malonzo, and you. And now joining us as he does every Thursday at 9 a.m. on our stream, which you can watch at facebook.com/The Fan Upstate, The Fan Upstate on YouTube, The Fan Upstate on Twitter, or The Rob Brown Show on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch. The hating ass one himself, Mario Heron for the BetMGM Network, executive producer of BetMGM Tonight, which you can hear every single weekday night from 7 to 11 p.m. And tomorrow might be hosted by the two most handsomest men in radio, Ryan Horvat and me, the great one on that side of the glass, Mario on that side of the glass. What up, big fella? How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I mean, I can't wait for tomorrow with the great Rob Brown on BetMGM Tonight, talking little Defensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. We have Rockets Warriors, another game that we'll be live reacting to. It's going to be a packed show, so make sure everyone tunes in. And even tonight on our show, we have Ryan Harris, the former Super Bowl champion. Are you freaking kidding me?
Nice.
That's who we have on at 7:40. So get locked in, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a fun night, but what's more fun than the NFL draft and the NBA? I would say absolutely nothing.
Let's talk a little NBA here. Let's go back last night. Lakers bounced 4-1 by the lower seeded Timberwolves. Apparently, Rudy Gobert decided he was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for a night. Simple outcome to me. I really wanted to believe that Luka and LeBron playing the outside in game would be enough to get it done. But at the end of the day, Timberwolves just own the paint every series. Not necessarily in terms of putting up 30 burgers from close range the whole time, but just out-physicaled the Lakers and Luka by himself, because I do not think Braun was as physical as he was in the regular season before Luka showed up. It basically cost them.
It did. I think what cost them more too, Rob, is, and we see this every playoff run. We see this so many times with like these quote-unquote like superstardom teams. You see it happen with the Suns. We saw it happen with the Nets when they had their kind of big three going. We just saw it now with Luka and LeBron. When you just have superstars and you have like 2 to 3, but you don't have anything around them, you're going to lose the basketball game. Because in these deep playoff runs, in these championship level teams, yes, you have to have a superstar, but you have to have the role players that just stepped up and played out of their minds in order to win a title, in order to make a run. You know, Derek White with the Celtics was a huge part. Payne Pritchard's a huge part. Bruce Brown when the Nuggets made their run was a huge part. On the Bucks, you had Brook Lopez that was huge during that. Obviously, Middleton was too, but Drew Holiday was also excellent in that. You have every single time guys around the superstars that just up their game. And with the Los Angeles Lakers, you didn't have that. That's why J.J. Redick didn't sub a whole second half and kept his starters in this past weekend, and that came back and hurt them. That's why last night you saw, once again, you know, Rudy Gobert had a great night, and it was very funny to see Shaq try to like compliment him live on air. But he stepped up big. DiVincenzo is huge. McDaniels is huge. Alexander Walker's a nightmare on the defensive side. Naz Reid is always in your grill. Like, the Wolves just have all of these plug-and-play guys that the Lakers just simply don't. They don't even have a 5. And you saw the roots of it. You saw what the issues lie. And on top of all that, Rob, you have a rookie head coach that's never had any coaching experience. And JJ, you can scream at the media all you want. And quite frankly, it kind of pissed me off a little bit. Like, JJ, that was a very reasonable question. If you're going to get mad about that, then simply grow up. Figure it out. You're not a Duke, snotty, bratty college player anymore. You're a grown man coaching the most popular franchise in basketball. Figure it the hell out. That made me so angry last night. But Lakers, they're out. I'm glad to see it. LeBron, you need more people around him, because at 40 years old, he can defeat Father Time, but he's, got to do it on his terms. You can't just ask for more and more and more.
The JJ thing is interesting, because I was very much against the hire when it got made. And then in the regular season, I handed JJ Redick all the flowers because I thought he did a pretty good job. And then it just felt like it was full meltdown mode in these playoffs. But the point I made, and I had a conversation with a buddy of mine earlier this AM talking about the elimination, Mario, it's just frustration, because at the end of the day, you could have had the greatest substitution role of all time. You just didn't have the dog. You didn't have the big man. Like, I don't know if the Mark Andrews trade that the Lakers invalidated via a failed physical would have fixed it, But if you'd had a 7-footer that could disrupt Rudy Gobert, you'd at least had a chance. They just didn't have the weaponry to get it done. It doesn't matter what substitution rotation JJ Redick went with.
No, listen, I don't disagree with that. I think they didn't have enough weaponry. Like, they just didn't have the personnel to beat the Wolves, and they didn't have the personnel to make it far in the playoffs. Like, when you made the argument for the Lakers to do it, your argument was, what if Luka just does the unreal Luka things? What if LeBron does the thing that we've seen him do so many times? That was your argument. And then you said, what we've seen from Austin Reeves offensively, he can carry this team to the playoffs. And then you just need luck along the way. Let's be honest, you need guys to get hurt. You need teams to have some unfortunate situations, some long series, and boom, you're in the Western Conference Finals, you're in the NBA Finals. It's happened before with teams. But at the end of the day, I think it's hard to fix what you have. And JJ, I was against the JJ hire. I think he did an excellent job in hiring assistants around him that are veteran head coaches. You have Nick McMillan on that staff. Scott Brooks has been on that staff. Those are guys that have been a part of long playoff runs as head coaches. So I think those are smart moves. And on the NBA, there's no hiding on the NBA floor. If you're the wink, like, congratulations, you're going to be found. Where's Waldo? You got him. It's the easiest game to ever play. But all that being said, you got to put your team in the best situation to win, and to not even trot out the idea, I think, of throwing Hayes out there. That's where I kind of go against it. And like some out of bounds plays, and that game this past weekend where you had 3 guys just sprint at the inbounder. I don't know what play that was, but obviously it didn't work, and it was a pretty stupid play. I'm also, hand up, like, I hate Duke. I hate JJ Redick. I can't stand. So there's bias in this take.
Hey, I don't. None of us noticed that when he was talking a little bit earlier about Duke.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Never been brought up on this show before, actually.
I just can't look, there's a lot of things, like, he acted like he was so above the media when he was in media, and acted like I'm the only one that can talk basketball and I understand basketball. It's like, okay, come on. Other people can too. And then you go on a show where all the show is hot takey, and then you think you're going to bring, like, some sense to it, and then you're thinking you're going to be, like, this overall, like, calmness to it. Okay. Don't say there's a problem with media and then join the biggest problem in the media.
Hayton S. Mario Heron from the BetMGM Network joins us on Thursdays at 9:00. One thing I've said, my biggest takeaway from these playoffs so far is that the old hats who say the NBA isn't physical anymore are just wrong. I mean, they're just wrong. These teams are absolutely getting after it. Do you agree with that take? And what is your biggest takeaway from round 1?
So the way I kind of look at this is, my dad, who is a complete 90s basketball homer, it was better back in the day. He was at the Pacers-Bucks game, the elimination game in Game 5. He was he was in Detroit, saw the Detroit Knicks, and he goes, the NBA is officially back. He's like, the physicality, because these guys hate each other, and I think it's beautiful. You have, in every first round, there's been an altercation, there's been some type of drama, there's been technicals, and the NBA has done a good job, I think, in not overreacting to any of it. Going, all right, we're going to, there's going to be some technicals in the game, but there's not going to be any suspensions. And I think that's been brilliant. Let these teams hate each other. Let Detroit and New York absolutely despise each other. That's great for the brand. Let Indiana and Milwaukee absolutely hate each other. Tyrese's dad, all right, come on, buddy. But he's been a constant problem. Let them kind of go at it. Let Nuggets Clippers go at it. This is great for basketball. You need more rivalries. You need more hatred within the game. Fantastic. Rockets Warriors. That's been a rivalry growing for a while now. Now I know it's new players a lot of time in Houston, but Dylan Brooks is still the biggest jerk of them all, and he's still going to let you know if he doesn't like you, and he's going to still do some cheap shots. I've loved the playoffs. I think it's been everything the NBA needs and more, and it's really silenced the crowd. That's going to come up every November of the NBA is boring, the NBA has a problem, and it's like, okay, talk about it then, but then talk about it now when you have every single first-round series of guys that are truly trying to go for each other's throats. It's brilliant basketball. It's great basketball. And if you're not watching it, if you're against it, then all right, good for you. Then watch hockey. Hockey's on. Hockey's fun. Bet that. Bet the over. Bet the under. Watch Ovi do some crazy stuff. I don't care. But the NBA right now is spectacular, and it's never been better.
Hating as Mario Heron. I don't need you to disparaging the good name of the Stanley Cup playoffs, sir. It's elite level hockey.
No, it is. I'm not disparaging it. I'm just saying the people that like scream about how terrible the NBA is, they always come around now. And it's just those voices have been silent as this basketball has been insane. And as we have young talent that's really shown up to play. Who would have thought Cade Cunningham would be the player he is now? He's going to introduce to the world. Pretty exceptional. Pretty exciting stuff. When Detroit's going to be back, and if they hate the Knicks and they hate the Celtics and they keep this attitude, we're going to be in for
I've said for a minute, I think the Orlando Magic found a running mate for Paolo Banchero, and I think the Magic, like good young team, are on their way. Put Detroit in that club. They find a Cade Cunningham running mate. Detroit's going to be nasty.
I would bet more money that Detroit would be back faster than Orlando if I had to wager on that.
I wouldn't disagree. I think they are a better roster. I think Orlando is like Orlando needs a couple of pieces, but I still think both of those teams are potentially the future.
Can I give you a big brain theory really quickly?
Obviously.
Okay. So a lot of these players, they've come up, they were raised, and they remember the sick Detroit era from like 04. I would say it's like 09 of the Chauncey Billups, Tayshaun Prince, Hamilton. People want to be a part of that. Like people are like, what if we brought back Detroit? Like Detroit's now, Cade's fun to play with. JB Bickerstaff's a very likable head coach. There's a chippiness that guys like. I think Detroit knows what they are and they know their identity and they want to bring all that back into the association. Where like if you look at Orlando, and by the way, Detroit's fan base, when that gets going, it's a great fan base. Like that's a fantastic place to play ball. Versus Orlando, where you go, every star comes and goes. You haven't had shooting in the past 2 years. If you had shooting, you'd probably make a run by now. When a playoff game's not very live there. Your fans are just Disney vitters that just didn't have a all-day pass to Avatar, or they want to wait in line, so they decided to go to a Magic game. It's hard. It's a hard sell, I would argue. Very hard sell.
I genuinely don't know how or why Orlando has a team. Like I like Orlando. I've been there a bunch of times. Yeah. Like I love Disney. I will go to Epcot 77 out of 78 days. I do not understand why there is an NBA team in Orlando, Florida.
It's that in Jacksonville. It's fascinating to you. Like, how did Jacksonville get a team? Just because it's like, what else is going on there? Yeah,
nothing. Jacksonville's the butthole of America. That place is awful.
Yeah, Florida. I mean, you're a Floridian. Is that what it's called? Floridian?
Floridian, yes.
Oh no, I like the first one.
A Floridian.
Yeah.
Floridian.
Because it matches him.
From the guy who brought you sirs.
That's on
Floridian.
a t-shirt. It's on a t-shirt. It's on a t-shirt, and they're marketing it. So
it's officially licensed t-shirt.
I think.
Okay, because anyone can make a t-shirt.
Is it just some guy on Etsy?
No.
Like
it's their team shirt that they put on the seats. That when you go there and you put it on,
that would be officially licensed.
Hey, is Giannis done in Milwaukee?
I think so, but the whole like people saying, "Oh, they just got to blow it up. They just got to blow it up." That's a lot easier said than done. Bucks went all in, and they don't have any rights to their picks until 2030 and 2031. So if they really want to trade Giannis, or Giannis really wants out, that him being like if he was like, "Oh, I want to go to the Warriors," right? If I want to go to the Lakers, which I can't stand. Every Laker fan's like, can't wait for him to be in a Laker uniform. And it's like, do you not realize that the Luka was that's a one-off. That's not going to happen again for you. And what the Bucks would need back is one picks, and one they need, they can't afford to tank because they don't own any of their picks. So whatever they get back, they have to be able to compete or make the argument of, hey, we have young enough talent. This is something we can build off of and give our, audience, to give our fans something to watch, because they just built a new stadium. They just extended their GM. So they have to make a lot of moves if they want to get this done. Like a team like the Rockets would be probably their best option if Giannis would even want to go to Houston. We talked about him a lot, but Detroit would have to be an option just in terms of picks, and maybe Youngtown they can send back. And with Thompson, I wouldn't trade him if I'm Detroit. I would just kind of let your process go. Orlando could be in that conversation. People are going to say Brooklyn Nets, even though I think that you're probably on something if you think anyone wants to go to Brooklyn and try another big three or superstardom, because it just has not worked. Shout out Durant, shout out Jason Kidd, shout out Richard Jefferson. I can go on if you want to. Kyrie Irving, James Harden. It's just never worked. But it's got to be a team that's kind of younger on the rise. It can't, the Knicks maybe, because you can go, hey, here's Bridges, here's Towns, but I think they got to let go of Tibbs if they can't get this done this year, and they won't.
Lonzo just found the Yes Sirs shirt, and I hate it so much. I hate it so much.
It's a youth shirt. It's a youth shirt.
And by the way, it only comes in
children's. It was their
style.
playoff shirt. It was their playoff shirt.
Okay, it must be another one.
My mom, because when my parents were at the game, my mom's like, "Do I have to wear this shirt?" And I go, "Lisa," and I'm sorry I said your first name, Mom, but you have to. I was like, "You have to put on the shirt," and she just goes, "But it just doesn't match my outfit." And I go, "Well, you're a 5 foot
by her
Italian
first
woman."
name. I mean, dude, you don't do that. I don't think I've ever done that.
He's of the next generation.
I know, and I mean,
I would never call my mom her because then she'd hits me. And let me tell you something: she might be 5 foot, but her slap hurts more than probably a John Jones punch.
My mom is also 5 foot, and I can completely agree with you there.
Yeah, she puts all the rings on one hand.
Oh,
she's
yeah,
coming at you.
I got grounded once, so
wow,
it's probably about the same thing.
And you turned out perfectly fine.
Just fine, just dandy. I don't say things like yes, sirs. So I feel like I did.
Hey, he's vindicated. It's actually on a shirt. So, I mean, it's yeah.
So we did grounding, but we'd also get we got some altercations from my parents. And one time, our brother got in so much trouble, he hid under a foosball table for 2 hours. And my mom was like, "Get out!" And he goes,
ladies and
calm
gentlemen.
down.
Walking living proof that hitting your children does not work. Joining us every Thursday at 9 a.m. to talk sports in general. He is the executive producer of BetMGM Tonight, which you can hear on this.
Spare the rod, get Rob Brown. I mean, that's what.
I mean, that turned out great. I'm an angel. I'm a cherub. I'm perfect. 7 to 11 p.m. on this and Fine Odyssey stations everywhere. BetMGM Tonight, the EP and buddy of the show, Hayton Ass Mario. Big dog, appreciate it as always. Enjoy the final of round one. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much. See you guys tomorrow, 7 to 11 p.m. Eastern. BetMGM Tonight and the Bull Crew podcast available wherever you get your podcast. Talking Charger football.
For all three Chargers fans. Buddy.
Hey.
When we come back.
Rookie of the year.
WrestleMania in the background. Lonzo and I talk WWE, AEW, and more. It is Fight Club with the great one. I got to move my mic back. With the great one. Coming up next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Three friends.
Appreciate you, big fella.
Thank you. I'll see you. I have what we're going to talk about for tomorrow.
Welcome to the Fight Club. Not going to apologize for spending so much time on WWE lately because it's been necessary. There's a lot of things going on and interesting directions, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to stick with it. And plus, I want to. So there.
Fair enough.
Take that, whoever you may be. All right, let's start here. Sami Zayn is the first to go against Seth Rollins' new faction. Is this a good move or should it have been somebody else? I mean, I thought the whole thing Monday was actually pretty good.
I did too. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a good segment. I'll tell you what I find.
And I was yelling at the screen, take the deal, Sammy. Take the deal.
You know he's not going to.
You move the SmackDown, you get a title shot. I mean,
You know he's not going to. It'd have been really interesting if you would, because then you're just killing the story. But here's what I really did find interesting about this. You know that I, for years, have been like, I'm pro heel because over the last couple of years, I thought they've done a pretty good job at making the heels understandable, maybe not relatable, but giving them a story, a gimmick in which they actually have a point. Drew McIntyre had a point. Seth Rollins had a point. In fact, I still think that he does. But when you send out the ultimate babyface Sami Zayn, and you have Seth not just order him to get broken, but then curb stomps him after he's taken a couple of spears, and the crowd is still chanting for Seth Rollins, we've hit a weird spot in wrestling because I don't know that you can get away, great one, with good guys and bad guys anymore. And in a situation like what you want to do with this Seth Rollins faction, I don't know how you work that into the story.
Well, the other thing, him doing what he did, Seth Rollins doing the throat slash, we know who did that last. I'm just saying, everything that Sami Zayn said is true. He just became everything that Roman Reigns was.
No, I agree. But isn't that kind of the point? Like, are we good? Are we cheering that, right? And if crowds are going to cheer Seth Rollins becoming everything that he tried to set out to destroy when it was Roman doing it instead. And again, I think the story for Seth is going to be that, I had to get my ass beat multiple times, multiple years before I, eventually got mine at WrestleMania. And it took me joining forces with Paul Heyman to do it. I think you can tell a compelling story there, but if the crowd is going to cheer one more time when Braun Breaker hits a spear on the Ultimate over babyface, that's going to make it challenging to tell that story.
But they kind of chant that on just about everything.
No, I agree. That's the point.
Yeah,
that's the point.
So I get what you're saying. It's got to be hard from a storytelling aspect to pitch your good versus evil.
Yeah, could you tell a
story.
Captain America story if the people were going, I want more Hydra? They're like, and cheering for him. Like, how am I supposed to tell a story here?
We'll see. Because rumors are that he's playing several different parts, including that guy, the Captain America that's a Hydra guy. I don't know who I thought they would be going after next, but Sami Zayn was unexpected. I'm not saying I don't like it because I do. I think it would have been more compelling to me if he took the deal, because that would have been something no one expected.
Yeah, but again, then you've told a one night story that is kind of pointless, right? Like, unless you're going to turn Sami Zayn over on SmackDown, turn him heel. But
although you just got your friend out of the way, now you're going to go crazy. I mean, the one thing that might have held you back.
Yeah, but how is Seth Rollins stabbing a 20+ year friend in the back in order to accomplish what he wants to accomplish and be a self-professed, self-glossed messiah? Like, if you're going to do the messiah angle, him being willing to stab his buddy in the back when his buddy is like trying to pull him out of this little weird spot, I found it super compelling. On top of that, I'm also just a big Sami Zayn guy.
Well, ultimately, I'm curious about where this leads. Obviously, one of them is going to have to be champion. I think it's going to be Braun Breaker. Because I think that would be more interesting because we've seen Seth Rollins be champion, but we'll see. This is the beginning of probably a long story. All right, speaking of heels and someone who you don't like at all, Logan Paul versus Jey Uso this is not a surprise. So Logan Paul is going to take the belt off of Jey Uso.
No, he's not. Why? Why would he?
He absolutely is.
No, he's not. Not only is he not, I'd be willing to put a burger bet down on that. No, he's not. I understand that he's our step to the next generation of wrestling fans. Here's the thing. You know what you can't do in order to gain more wrestling fans? Lose the ones that you already have. And this guy he's just not liked.
So what you're saying is no one watches his podcast?
No.
That no one buys
non-wrestling fans. His entire YouTube base is non-wrestling fans. Your argument in favor of Logan Paul this whole time has been to get more fans into wrestling. I don't think you're going to sacrifice the ones that already are to get them there.
I think you're generalizing to a degree. You don't know how many wrestling fans that are now wrestling fans that weren't because of the fact that he wrestles.
I don't know any of them. That's exactly the point.
No. Your circle, although big, not big enough to encompass the amount of people that actually watch his show. And I have watched his show since he came to wrestling. I never watched it before that because he's had wrestlers on, and the interviews are interesting because of the style of the interview. And it's a little more candid and they're a little more open. It's like a talking to your bro podcast, and you learn some things from stuff like that. So I've found his podcast interesting when he's had wrestlers on. And I think if you're a non-fan, you also found them interesting, then you're starting to watch the product. But that's just me. I still say Logan Paul wins the championship. No one thought he was going to win the last championship he got. And he hasn't won a world championship. Jay's going to keep it for a while, but, and I don't know that Logan wins it right away, but I think he beats him for it.
I don't, but what the hell do I know? The guy sucks.
Stephanie McCure overshadows all of the women on the main roster. When will she move up? Are you going to disagree with me that she overshadows everyone?
No, I'm absolutely not. I think she does. Stephanie McCure has become everything that Becky Lynch was during the man run. She is right now everything. She is a phenomenal wrestler. She's got a great look. She's got a dope entrance. Her kind of badass aura is fantastic. And on top of that, she ain't bad on the ice.
Well, there's that too. Yeah.
No, I'm not going to push back at that at all. In fact, even the buddies who are like borderline wrestling fans or casual wrestling fans are dropping Vakir clips on me like, who is this chick? It's like the future.
Did they listen to her talk? Because that adds to it. I'm just saying the accent.
It absolutely does.
Yeah, it does. All right. I think she moves up soon, and they have no choice. But according to stories, she decided she wanted to go to NXT first to learn the WWE style. I think she's got it. I think she's got it down. She's the NXT champion right now. I think she could move up and immediately be vying for one of the main titles. Probably not Tiffy's. But,
no, definitely not Tiffy's.
Yeah, probably not Tiffy's. All right. JD McDonough's return. By the way, looked good. He looked good. He looked really good. I don't know. There's something about, did he do something like spend some time on the rack or something? His head doesn't look as big.
He came back yoked, dude.
Yeah. So that's what you think. Yeah.
I think he's just bigger. But then again,
he got tired of all the MODOK jokes and just went and decided, I'm going to make this look right.
Well, I think most dudes who and gals, I think most of the wrestlers who take a break and get some time to, recuperate, come back bigger and badder than they were. But no, he looked great. Him and Finn both look good.
Yeah. If you're a wrestling fan, how can you not be a fan of him now, knowing what he did, finishing a match with a punctured lung and broken ribs and all that stuff?
He was on I don't remember whose pod, but he was on a pod a couple of weeks ago before he like really had to disappear for a while. And he was talking about how there's a competition in the back room about who can back body drop him from the highest height, like who can get him up in the air for the back body drop the highest. And he said that, and I can't remember who it was, but he said he took one. I think he said it may have been Braun Breaker. He said he threw me so high in the air that when I flipped over and saw how high I was, I just went on the way down. Oh, before I hit and like that. But he said it's my idea. I'm encouraging it. When I go for that break, I'm like, get me up there. I'm going to launch as high as I can. I love this dude. This dude is 100% putting it on the line. I think he deserves more than he gets. I hope him and Finn get tag team title runs at some point.
Yeah, I think Finn's going to be out of Judgment Day pretty soon, but I don't know. We'll see. Two more things I want to get to. I had more, but that's fine. Stone Cold turned down $1 million. Speaking of Logan Paul, turned down $1 million to not put the Prime bottle on. Rob Brown.
Good.
Mister, if the Live Tour called me today, I'd be gone. You wearing that Prime bottle?
For $1 million?
Yes.
I mean, I would have to say yes. I would have to say you sold out, because $1 million is a life-changing amount of money, and I would have to swallow my shame and pride. Now, if I'm Steve Austin, no. If I already live on a mansion and I've got $1 million, then no, bleep that guy. Absolutely not. But this may shock you. I do not live in a mansion or have $1 million.
Allegedly. We don't know. We don't know. Only a very few have been there. So
yesterday, I spent 3 hours laying mulch in a garden. If I had $1 million, somebody else would have been laying mulch in a garden.
Or you spent 3 hours directing the help.
No, I was the help. I do not have $1 million.
All right. One last thing. Liv Morgan's movie has been announced. It is called Bad Lieutenant Tokyo. It will follow the bad lieutenant, a corrupt gambler in the Metropolitan Police Force who finds himself thrown into a tangled case after an enigmatic FBI agent arrives in Tokyo to investigate the disappearance of a politician's daughter, played by Liv Morgan. Meanwhile, a deviant killer operating in the Yakuza underworld seems to be shadowing their moves. There we go. Big break for Liv Morgan. She's going to be in.
Who else is in this movie?
I don't know their names. I could read their names, but you won't know them either.
So maybe it's the Marine. Maybe we leaned a little heavy on big Hollywood.
This is the Marine 6, Tokyo.
I need to know what you decided to pass up on to tell us about that. What else was on the cheat sheet that you did not get to tell us about that?
All right, I'll just tell you two things. Tony D and Stax are going at it now. The family is over.
I much rather would have talked about that.
And also, Sol Ruka winning the belt. I was going to ask, what is the best finisher in all of wrestling right now?
So gross.
Yes.
It's so nasty. I love it. Bronze Spear and the Soul Snatcher are the answers. All right. Got a few more things to get to before we get up out of here for the day. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. Rob Lonzo and you. The Rob Brown Show was on the Fan Upstate.
When she did the double soul snatcher, that was amazing. Just how people have to be in position in order for that thing to work. I think even more so than like Cody's flying cutter and some things like that, or the RKO. I think hers, they have to be in perfect position for it to look right because of the flip. Eventually, someone's just going to step back and just push her into the mat when she does it, whenever she meets her match.
The Samoa Joe step away.
Oh, yeah. That's got to be up there. It's not a finisher, though.
It's my favorite move in wrestling.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe.
Guys, leave Cody alone. He needs a break, man. It was time for him to take a little vacation. I think he was at Disney or something. Carried the company for a year. Does he stay completely out of the picture until Cena's gone? Or does he come back and win the belt in Cena's last match, which has been speculated about? I wish Randy would beat Cena next week, but it's probably not going to happen. And I don't think he needs a redemption arc. I think he should just go out as a heel. He said too many things to be brought back into the light. Although there's a movie coming out with him and Idris Elba that looks interesting. I think it's on Prime or something. Randy will lose, but it won't be because of Cena. Definitely ain't gonna be because Travis Scott either. Because if Travis Scott comes out, he needs to be looking around the corner. Braun Breaker's coming for him. Is everywhere.
Yeah, what if we
That
don't
is
have Travis Scott come out?
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Cena, and we'll talk about it next week when we preview some Backlash. Randy's probably not going to win, but Cena can't beat him straight up the way it is right now. There's going to be interference. Question is, by whom? I mean, the perfect person is out of commission right now. It would have been a perfect place for Kevin Owens to interfere. The only way they could justify Cena beating Randy straight up right now is if they make it some sort of street fight or something.
All right, let's get a little bit of sound in here before we call it a day. Ross Tucker was on Good Morning Football this morning and talked about the Kirk Cousins situation in Atlanta.
Well, first, I want to start with what Fontenot said about them still getting calls about Kirk Cousins. I don't know if it's called a GIF or a GIF, but you know Will Ferrell in Anchorman where he says, "I don't believe you."
Yes.
That is what I'm saying to Terry Fontenot right now. I don't believe you. Okay, I don't believe you're getting calls anymore, Terry, about Kirk Cousins. The Browns have moved on. They were the most likely team. They drafted 2 guys. They have 5 quarterbacks now. Okay, they're not going to pay money to get Kirk Cousins on their roster. The Steelers pretty clearly are getting Aaron Rodgers. Otherwise, they would have drafted a quarterback higher. There had been some talk about the Vikings maybe bringing Kirk Cousins back. They traded for Sam Howell. They love J.J. McCarthy. At this point, Kirk Cousins got no place else to go. He's like Richard Gere and whatever that movie is. I didn't really watch.
Which one?
But is it Full Metal Jacket? What's it called? Richard Gere. He goes, I got no place else to go.
I don't even know that reference.
Oh, no. It's like it's a military movie.
Officer and a Gentleman. I was going to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, we're 2 minutes into the show. I've already referenced Anchorman and Officer and a Gentleman. And Kyle's the movie guy, just so you know. So the point is, okay, I think he's going to be in Atlanta. I don't think he's got any other options at this point. I'm supposed to say what the best situation is for Kirk, I guess J.J. McCarthy gets hurt and the Vikings bring him back, or maybe Rodgers decides to retire and he can go to Pittsburgh. But I don't really see one for him right now. I think the best situation for Kirk Cousins is to make $27.5 million as a backup. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much it. I have nothing to add to that. That's pretty much it. The Steelers are going Rodgers. Cleveland drafted 2 quarterbacks. There is only one place right now for Kirk Cousins, and it is to stay the backup in Atlanta. The question mark is, does Atlanta want him back as the backup? They may have to, because much like Kirk Cousins doesn't have a place to go, there's not really a lot out there in terms of the backup quarterback market right now. So it's probably Kirk Cousins and Atlanta are a match made in necessity.
I was going to say, unless you call Cleveland and go, hey, you got some extras over there. Why don't you send 1 or 2 our way?
Yeah, that's just a match made in necessity at this point. There's really nowhere else to go for him at that point. So I think that's what it's going to be. He's going to end up staying in Atlanta, because where the hell else is he going to go? I wanted to play this just because I was going to save it for the Blitz tomorrow, but I might as well get it out of the way here. Dudes gonna be dudes, right? Like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, how much money you got, how much money you've earned, whatever. Sometimes dudes just gonna be dudes. Like Ben Affleck, who told this story to the Kelsey Bros on the New Heights pod.
Heard that you once got to run routes with Tom Brady.
What was that like?
How many completions did we get? What kind of routes were you running?
I don't know if they have a name, but I'm sure I disgraced every receiver that's ever run a route. But to this day, aside from the birth of my children, that was the greatest ever. He was like, I need someone to play catch with. Happened to be on vacation at the same place with them.
This was as legit as it gets. You were helping Tom get ready for the season.
I don't know how much I was helping him. I think he was like, I'm going to blow the season. I'm going to call him up. But the greatest moment of that experience was he was like, okay, come here. And I get to him and he's like, it's the Super Bowl. Fourth quarter. We got 23 seconds. It's 4th and 18. I was like, oh,
this is why he's the best.
It was amazing, dude. He goes, and just run straight. Don't turn around. I'm going to get you the ball in the end zone. I was like, don't turn around. He was like, don't look back. I was like, I'm in the Super Bowl now. So he's like, look, calls it out. And I start running. I don't look back. I'm sure to him it seemed like this. He's like, I've never seen somebody run in slow motion before. But like to me, I was going as fast as you can go. But I'm like wondering, when's this ball going to show up? And I look, I just feel it like right out in front of me. And it was a little far for me. I think he was like, he probably adjusted back and it's still not backing up, you know what I mean? And I reach out and I have to go, all I have to extend, I catch the ball. It was incredible. I called everybody I knew, but it was like the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me. And I lived a full life of dreams, right? In that, whatever it was, hour of playing catch.
Ben Affleck says, I'm on vacation. Brady happens to be there. He calls me. He's like, hey, I need somebody to play catch with. He goes, he took me to the Super Bowl. I heard that story and I'm like, I get it. Because back in like 2008, 9, it was in the training camp leading up to the year that the Saints won the Super Bowl. I was working for Roy Jones Jr. at the time, and he was getting set for a fight in Biloxi that I was going to be on the call for. And his manager, a guy by the name of McGee, who's super stellar dude, McGee found me doing the local sports talk down there in Destin, hired me to come on board and work for Roy's company. He calls me. He's like, hey, you're a Saints fan, right? I said, yeah. He goes, we're going to camp tomorrow. I'll pick you up. It's like, oh, all right, whatever. Called in, got the day off, rode over to New Orleans with Roy, and we went to Saints camp. And while we were there, they were having a practice. Drew Brees was throwing passes to Lance Moore. And we're all over on the sideline. They're throwing up and down the sideline, getting warmed up. Brees is catching, handing the ball off to, I think it was Chase Daniel was the backup at the time. He's throwing it back over. Drew was working with, I don't know who was catching passes for him. I'm so blanked out. But during that little pitch and catch session, while they were getting warmed up pre-practice, Lance Moore, I was standing right next to him watching this play out. Because in my head, I'm like, I'm going to pick one off, right? Like, I'm going to just grab one. And Lance Moore at one point looks at me and, you know, I'm just this standard 20-whatever-year-old white dude. And he's like, hey, step in real quick. And I don't remember how to do it. He had to like adjust his pads or adjust his equipment or something. But he's like, step in real quick. And so I'm like, you want me to what now? He's like, step in real quick. So I caught like 2 passes from Drew Brees. And both times that a Drew Brees spiral is coming at my face, I've never been that nervous in my life. I told the wife this. I was less nervous standing in front of friends and family to get married, less nervous about that than I was catching a pass from Drew Brees. I have skydived, less nervous jumping out of an airplane than I was to catch a pass from Drew Brees. Everything I've ever done in my life.
Did you catch them both?
I caught both of them, 2 for 2. Second one, I thought there was going to be a little bit of a bobble, but like both one, I mean, just in the chest. Like,
oh, so not hands.
No. Just okay. I didn't have to move. I could have just put my hands in my chest and he'd have hit them both times.
So your hands were there. You didn't catch with your chest.
No.
Okay, all right.
No, there was no chance that I was embarrassing myself in front of Drew Brees. The point is, at the end of the day, Aflac had that feeling with Brady. I get it. Boys gonna be boys, I guess.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do it if you're asked to do it. All right. Speaking of Tom Brady, the first thing is Xing is Bill Belichick.
Okay, this story that we got into yesterday gets progressively dumber. Lonzo doesn't understand how public relations works.
Oh, no, I do. I was right. And usually when I'm right, it doesn't get mentioned on the entire show.
No.
I just want to point that out. I mean,
the University of North Carolina put out a statement.
No, I'm talking about Bill Belichick's statement.
The University of North Carolina put out a statement from Bill Belichick where Belichick basically says what Lonzo said yesterday, that it was a false narrative and that it was snipped and clipped and edited to look and appear a certain way.
Defend your brothers. Go ahead.
I'm defending my brothers.
Your secret society.
Wait, hang on. We make the assumption guy with camera and microphone obviously is lying. There's no chance.
Wasn't an assumption.
There's no chance.
I was right.
There's no chance that maybe Bill's lying.
You could yell louder.
I know that because
listen, that's a fine, upstanding citizen there who's never done anything outside of the law or against public opinion. Bill Belichick, I mean, that's the guy you want to grow up to be.
Yes, the assumption is the media was lying, not Bill. Here's my favorite thing that's the new conspiracy theory that is broken out after all of this whole thing. The conspiracy theory that's broken out is the reason that they don't want to tell the story of how they actually met is because Belichick was recruiting cheerleaders for the Patriots. And people are like, why? That's weird. The conspiracy theory floating around now is Bill was recruiting cheerleaders to act as his spies because nobody would suspect the cheerleaders. And he was personally recruiting Jordan to be a cheerleader and therefore a spy. And that's how they got close. And they made up the story about him helping her with her psychology homework as a cover. And I elect to fully believe it's true.
This sounds like an episode of Charlie's Angels.
It really does.
I'm just saying where Bill Belichick is actually Charlie. All right.
I elect to believe it's entirely true.
The next thing is Xing is Dakota Kai.
She is Xing. We talked about this yesterday, if I recall correctly.
No.
Oh, is there something new?
Type in her name right now. While we're talking, type in her name and prepare to be surprised.
Dakota Kai with curls?
Yes. No. Do you see it?
With the curly haircut?
Yeah, it doesn't look like her. It's just like, I'm like, that's not her. Why would they you have to look really close to go, okay, that's her. Why did that should have been her look all along. I'm just saying it's trending because it's such a contrast to what she normally looks like.
Shout out Dakota Kai.
Look at you. See, you saw the same thing that everyone saw that caused it to trend on X.
What you say, Dakota Kai?
All right. The next thing that's Xing is he's 40.
Thanks, Lulu Kesson. You got me trending.
That's
national.
It happened.
It's not about me?
No, that was like 6:30 this morning.
Okay.
I found that.
Well, it takes a little while to get trending. I got nothing. He's a man. He's 40.
Well, he's actually 42, but that's why it's trending. LeBron.
Aha. You know what else he is? Eliminated from the playoffs.
That he is.
Headed to Cancun.
All right. The next thing that's Xing is Benny Hill.
I got nothing.
All right. For some reason, the internet has decided that Captain Kangaroo, I know you don't know who he is, is Benny Hill. Even though clearly he is not Benny Hill. Benny Hill's that show as a kid, a teen, a preteen that you sneak and watch. That was Benny Hill.
The only thing I know about Benny Hill is that's where the song that plays in every movie where they're hilariously chasing each other around comes from.
Yeah, but it's all scantily clad women that are doing the.
No, yeah. But they just use that song for everything else. I don't know anything else about Benny Hill or Captain Kangaroo.
I don't know if that originated on that show or not, but it definitely made it popular.
It's a theme song to the show. That's my understanding.
Yeah, I guess.
Hey, we got to go. I don't want to.
I have one more.
Oh,
yeah,
fire away.
It's Undertaker.
Because he's 73 today.
He showed up on NXT and told Obafemi, "This is your yard now."
Oh, got the old Mark Calloway rub. Interesting. Hey, that's it for us. Thanks for being here. If you didn't enjoy it, you have bad taste in radio. Come back tomorrow. We'll try again and be even better. He's Lonzo. I'm Rob. That's the Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate.
Let me tell you what they done. They done kicked your ass, son. Wow.
All right, kids, that's it for us. Gotta go do stuff.
All right, we don't have to do anything because we're in radio. We're just going to go eat free pizza and watch videos.
Wait, where do we get pizza? Where the hell's their pizza? I want pizza.
You should have checked the fridge. It was a joke, dude. There's probably, there's always pizza in the fridge if you look in there.
No, there's not. I looked earlier this morning. I was looking for anything that I was going to.
Back in my day, there was always pizza in the fridge.
All right, thanks for being here, girl. Amazing. Tell your friends about us. We're trying to get rich and retire. Have a great day.